Launch of the Bucks Central podcast feed. Everything Bucks on demand in one spot. From sideline to sideline, hear all the ankle-breaking, rim-rattling, and twine-tingling highlights, exclusive interviews, and more. Subscribe to the Bucks Central podcast feed wherever you get your podcasts. All the Bucks content your heart desires in one spot. Check out the Bucks Central podcast feed.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. One of our senior loan consultants recently helped their first-time homebuyer client win over 13 other offers. Of course, it was a team effort with their buyer's agent, and it centered around helping our clients understand what little difference there was to their monthly payment to offer over the asking price. And again, what little difference it would make to give the sellers peace of mind that they'd still buy even if the appraisal came in up to $20,000 short. But that's not all. Our consultant also texted and called the listing agent to reinforce how well qualified our buyers were and that they could, in fact, still close even if the appraisal came in low. Your AccuNet consultant will help you understand your options so you can decide how aggressive you want to be. Then we do everything possible to help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Built Right Furniture, Leather, and Mattress.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Traffic is sponsored by Hair Construction.
If your home has a septic or mound system, you're invited. Join Hair Construction for a free seminar on keeping it working right. Visit HerrCorp.com for details.
It's time for the Crew to finally throw down against a division rival.
Bunting it up the first baseline. It's a good bunt. Racing home is done. He will score. Bryce Terang gets the job done.
Our Brewers Reds coverage starts tonight at 6 with Brewers warm-up on your home for the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
I'm John Mercure. This is Wisconsin's Afternoon News. Your top story, granting a convicted killer's request.
I'm Amy Taylor in for Julia Fellow. More time on the clock to save a popular app.
I'm Debbie Loziga, starting off with some slowdowns. Northbound 43, right around the North Avenue curve, all the way up to Keefe. Westbound 94, slowing from 16th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound 94, watch out for backups from about 76th Street all the way to Hawley Road. A little bit of a slowdown on southbound 43 right through the Marquette. I'm Debbie Loziga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, a few showers, a low of 38 degrees. Tomorrow, maybe a shower early in the day, a high of 51. It's currently 42. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, a Waukesha County judge grants a convicted killer's request to represent himself during his appeal.
The court will grant Attorney Covey's motion to withdraw. And from here on forward, the court will consider Mr. Brooks a pro se litigant. We will be able to communicate directly with him.
Darrell Brooks is currently serving 6 life sentences for the deaths in the 2021 Waukesha Christmas Parade attack. He represented himself during the original criminal trial.
Milwaukee's newest alderman will officially begin his first term in office this evening.
Alex Brower will be sworn in today after the Milwaukee Elections Commission certifies the results of Tuesday's race. But the new leader of Milwaukee's 3rd District tells WTMJ he's already gotten to work.
There's a backlog of work and some licensing stuff that needs to happen.
Alderman-elect Brower says he hopes to quickly initiate listening sessions to address that growing backlog of license applications.
I'm going to be meeting with the director of licensing soon as well after I'm sworn in, and looking forward to those conversations about the exact specifics of the procedure.
Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
City officials made the case for Milwaukee funding in the upcoming biennial state budget. Mayor Cavalier Johnson tells WTMJ.
Children are our future, and education is critically important for Milwaukee. I've said I wanted to grow the city. We're not going to be able to do that unless folks know that kids can get a quality education. Part of that means that the state's got to make investments in Milwaukee Public Schools and education throughout Milwaukee.
Republican legislators have indicated they're not willing to give Milwaukee more money, largely because of what happened with student resource officers. The mayor's request centered on education, youth programming, and infrastructure maintenance.
The Senate is set to vote on a series of amendments to the GOP budget resolution, or the so-called Vote-A-Rama, tonight. ABC's Jay O'Brien on Capitol Hill.
We expect Democrats to make amendments to this Republican budget blueprint that include amendments that are directed at these tariffs that the president announced this week. It's very much unclear if those amendments would actually pass, although there are Republicans here up here on Capitol Hill that want more congressional oversight into these tariffs. So that will hang over this vote-a-rama that's expected to take place in this evening and go overnight. Ultimately, that blueprint expected to pass.
This is the first step toward enacting many of the president's key policies without the help of Democrats.
TikTok is sticking around at least until the end of June. President Trump signing an executive order today to keep the popular app operating another 75 days until it's either sold or banned. ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
What I'm told is that this is going to be a group of investors that would be getting in on TikTok together. And that includes Walmart, potentially Amazon throwing their hat into the ring. You also have Oracle, the tech company AppLovin that's interested, and a source close to the deal telling me that the founder of the adult site OnlyFans is also interested in buying TikTok.
The president posting on social media that he looks forward to working with China to close the deal.
Coming up, a Royal Vegetable Orchestra.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 3:05.
Staying active, essential for overall health. Proper medical support, essential for staying active. WTMJ's Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Whether it's keeping a weekend warrior like me on the tennis court or keeping young athletes in the game, you want the best in sports medicine, that's OAW. Surgeons, nurses, and physical therapists help you recover from injury, avoid injury in the future, and enhance performance. Get care 7 days a week. Walk right in at an Ortho ASAP clinic or book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
As spring rolls in, it's time to get your yard ready at Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Keep ahead of crabgrass with effective crabgrass preventers from quality brands like Scott's and Estate. These powerful pre-emergent solutions stifle crabgrass and other invasive weeds to keep your turf healthy and green from the get-go. But if any weeds slip through, Estate Premium 4-in-1 lawn treatment will choke them out on contact. Take pride in your lawn and find the value you need to maximize its potential. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Be an original.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala, nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, this is Bob Prosser, owner of Ish Nala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ish Nala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ish Nala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ish Nala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ish Nala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 3:07.
King Charles not above playing the carrot.
King Charles proved he's not above joining a vegetable orchestra. Royal fans were in stitches as the 76-year-old monarch tooted out Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star on a recorder shaped like a carrot during a music reception at Windsor Castle. The LVO, London Vegetable Orchestra, also includes what its website calls a mouth-watering selection of eggplants, peppers, potatoes, and butternut squash. The royal event recognized leaders of community music groups and projects across the UK. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. After beginning the season with 4 straight losses, the Brewers aim for their 4th straight win tonight against the Reds. Coverage begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. In college basketball, the women's Final Four semifinal games begin tonight in Tampa, Florida. The men's Final Four begins tomorrow in San Antonio with all 4 number 1 seeds remaining.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 3:08.
Tax tips are brought to you by the Neal Group. For less stress with the IRS, check out the Neal Group, NEALgroup.net.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at the Neal Group. There are 5 filing statuses you can use when preparing your return: single, married filing jointly, married filing separately, head of household, and qualifying surviving spouse. Filing status is determined on December 31st of the tax filing year. Each case should be examined to determine the most appropriate status within the tax law. Often, couples in the middle of a divorce believe that they should file 2 returns, but that is not always the case. If the divorce is not final on December 31st, you are still considered married. But there may be a situation where married filing separately makes sense, even if filing jointly gives a lower tax amount. Head of household can be a confusing status. 2 unmarried adults living in the same home may each be able to claim head of household on their returns in certain circumstances. Tax preparers will get the best results for you when asking all of the right questions. For more information on this tip and other tax tips, go to neogroup.net or stop in and see us. Hi, this is Michelle Voskuhl, CPA and team member at Right Choice Tax Resolution. The IRS has you in their crosshairs. We are local and know how to deal with the IRS and state to solve your situation. Just the other week, we successfully removed the target on Nick to get $194,358 of taxes and penalties removed. This is why John Neal started Right Choice Tax Resolution, to help people fight the IRS and state. You don't know the ins and outs of all the taxes they can charge you or the more than 150 penalties they can impose on you. Make the right choice and call us at 844-222-1192. We want to help so your bank account doesn't get wiped out, your paycheck or Social Security garnished, or a lien put on your house. Get rid of that stress and get back to enjoying life. Call us at 844-222-1192 or visit rightchoicetax.us right now to book a meeting. We understand how stressful this can be. The situation won't go away if you do nothing. That's 844-222-1192 or rightchoicetax.us.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is on the air. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure. And in for Julia Fellow, it's Amy Taylor.
All right, Amy, happy Friday. We made it.
We did. This has been kind of a rough week in some sectors. This applies to all of us, I guess, right?
The best part about it being Friday is that the markets are not open tomorrow or Sunday.
I mean, we get a little reprieve.
2 days where we can breathe a little bit, so we can drink tonight, sleep in tomorrow.
Is it bad to have plans for that? I mean, this has been rough.
I already have it booked. Me and a bottle of Chianti Classico have a serious date.
Is that your bev of choice?
Oh, I love that wine. Yeah,
it's a little dry for me, but I hear you.
Yeah, it's a little dry.
Formatos, right?
Yeah, Formatos. You got it. Formatos.
Yes, don't forget.
I got a great selection there. By the way, I just bought some Aperol Formatos, too. Okay, and a couple cases of beer.
Okay, we're on board here.
Yeah. All right, let's get to it. What are we chasing today?
This is the 3 at 3 on Wisconsin's Afternoon News.
Okay, here we go. Guess what's going to be tariffed that nobody's really talking about? Bibles. In large part, Bibles. Bibles are made on really thin paper because they have so many pages, and there's only certain printing presses in the world that can do the thin paper stock like Bibles are often printed on.
Oh, interesting.
And almost all of those presses are located in China. So, the CEO of HarperCollins says that, you know what? Bibles are going to be tariffed. President Trump has a God Bless the USA Bible that he signs and sells. I don't know. Is there something wrong with that?
I just feel like, doesn't the Bible even get a break?
No, not even the Bible. No. The Bible's going to be taxed all to hell. It's going to be really taxed up.
And this is his special trademark Bible? Do we know what it is?
Well, it's made in China.
That's ironic, isn't it?
And it's the Donald Trump Truth Bible.
I mean, here he says he wants all the production in the United States. Make your Bibles in the U.S.
Yes, thank you.
Okay,
that's
let's put your money where your mouth is, Mr. President.
Print those Bibles here. All right, that's number 1. Number 2 in the 3 at 3. Do you fly United Airlines ever?
Oh, of course.
So on United Airlines, they have a partnership with Elon Musk's broadband satellite service Starlink, and because of that, passengers will be able to experience free in-flight Wi-Fi as soon as May. On many of their flights, the FAA had to approve this partnership, and they have. So on United now, it'll be free Wi-Fi. You know, on most flights, you can pay for Wi-Fi.
Yes, or if you are like a frequent flyer club member type of thing, but you are essentially paying for that, right?
So it's going to be free now for a lot of people because of Starlink.
Yeah, that's a really nice thing. And my kids, I don't know if you hear this from the younger generation, if they can't have Wi-Fi, it's like the world is falling.
Oh yeah. I mean, they would rather have a plane with only one wing and have Wi-Fi.
That's the truth.
Okay, the third thing in the 3 at 3, the average cost of a wedding according to The Knot, that's the wedding website.
Yeah.
The average cost of the wedding last year was $33,000.
I mean, that's the average. Let's put that in perspective. And I think, it's fair to say that 33,000, I mean, sure. What does that buy you today?
That's a deal. I have 2 daughters that got married in the last couple of years.
And how many people did you have?
200 at one wedding and
big.
like 125 at the other.
Yeah, that's more my pace.
You have 3 weddings coming up. I hope you're saving.
Isn't it fair to just say, you know what, you're on your own?
Yeah.
Is that wrong?
What would Dad think about that? Would your husband let them pay for their own?
No, but I think he'd be okay with them chipping in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what we did. So we set a budget for each girl.
Yeah.
We said, this is a generous budget. You can do what you want. You can get married just you and the parents and take all the money.
Oh,
or
wow.
if you spend more.
That is really generous.
Yeah, or if you spend more, then you're on the hook for whatever is over budget.
Right, and I think that makes sense. Or there's certain things that you want, right, where you're going to say, I mean, I know a friend of mine, her daughter-in-law, future, asked for... like a major singer to come.
Oh, wow. Wow. Yeah, you're on your own for that.
Could we get Ed Sheeran or something like that?
Yeah, you're on your own.
Do you know what I mean? No.
Yeah. It is 3:14 at WTMJ. All right, we dive in up next. The latest on the markets and the impact for those of us that are in the market. That's all of us, isn't it? That's up next on WTMJ.
While being the first pro baseball team is your claim to fame,
What's going on in there? What? That light.
those red jerseys remind us that your franchise is in flames.
Oh, the red. Yeah, it's a chicken roaster sign.
The Brewers host the Reds at American Family Field.
Back and Churio makes the catch as he collides with the wall.
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6:35. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
John Mercure here for Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning, water softeners, reverse osmosis systems. They've got them at Guthrie and Fry. They're the best in the business. They work like gold. They come in, they install everything. I can't believe how affordable this stuff is. They know at Guthrie and Fry that better water makes a big difference. I've got both those things in my house. Those fixed rental rates are really, really competitive. Owners Sue and Rob are well-known and generous in the local community, and that spills over into the folks who come into your house. Southeast Wisconsin's #1 choice is Guthrie and Fry Water Conditioning.
This message is sponsored by WisCaregiver.com. Now is the time to start a meaningful career as a caregiver. Make a real difference in people's lives. WisCaregiver.com gives you 2 great options for free. Train for the in-demand caregiver workforce as a CDCP, Certified Direct Care Professional, or become a CNA, Certified Nurse Aide. All training is free. Plus, you can earn a $500 bonus. Learn more. Visit WisCaregiver.com.
For people with disabilities, an opportunity can make all the difference. Get help navigating the transition into adulthood, employment, housing, healthcare, and more with Thinkability Wisconsin, a resource hub that empowers people with disabilities.
So this job makes me feel very confident. My goal is always to grow myself and learn new things.
Live life to the fullest. It all starts when you say yes. Contact a Thinkability Navigator to get help at thinkabilitywi.org.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Rejuvenex.com.
Rejuvenex. Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to Rejuvenex.com to request your appointment.
All right, let's check those roads on this Friday. Good afternoon, Debbie.
Good afternoon, John. Southbound on 41. We are seeing some delays from just before Hampton all the way down past Capitol Drive. Northbound 43's got some backups from just before Fond du Lac Avenue up to Keefe. Southbound slowing from Burleigh down through the Marquette interchange and over the high-rise bridge. Westbound 94 riders, you're looking at delays from about 27th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound is slowing down from 70th Street past Hawley Road and then back on the brakes coming out of the Stadium interchange. I'm Debbie Loziga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, a few showers, a low of 38 degrees. Tomorrow, showers in the morning, a high of 51. Sunday, partly cloudy, a high of 47. Monday, scattered snow showers, a high of only 38. On Tuesday, mostly sunny, still cool, a high of 41 degrees. Right now, it's cloudy and 42. The Wisconsin Afternoon News Podcast is sponsored by our friends at Dave Drake Camp Heating. Your comfort is their family's tradition. Visit DaveDrakeCamp.com. All right, Marco Rubio, like many members of the cabinet, everywhere they go is being asked about what's going on with the markets, what's going on with tariffs. And Rubio says, don't worry, the economies are not crashing. Chris Baccia, ABC News correspondent from Washington, is with us on the line. Good afternoon, Chris. Give us a little bit of detail. What's the Secretary of State saying?
Good afternoon. Well, the Secretary of State was in Brussels for meetings at NATO, and the track of those meetings was on European security, NATO, the war in Ukraine. But of course, he was asked about the tariffs, which have hit Europe in particular very hard, a 20% tariff levied against the Europeans. But he took issue with the notion that economies are crashing, which is how a reporter phrased it to him, and he corrected her in his mind, saying economies aren't crashing, markets are reacting. So he sort of threaded a needle, but not 30 seconds after, he did use that language. Markets have crashed, perhaps accidentally, perhaps saying the quiet part out loud. We've all seen the figures on the markets around the world, really. But his broader point was that this is a realignment that the president has initiated with the tariffs, that global trade has been stacked against the United States in the president's mind, and this is a correction of that. It's going to take some time. There's going to be short-term pain, and he stayed on message with the administration in general.
So it's interesting because he's saying that the reason this is happening is because stock values are adjusting to they're embedded in modes of production that are bad for the United States. So that's meaning you're going to have to take a long-term view and try to get production back into the United States. That's not something you can just flip a switch on. Do you think that the secretary is aware that his argument isn't that robust?
I think he's probably aware that that is a sort of thin foundation. Marco Rubio belonged to a Republican Party that not long ago would have had no interest in really reorganizing global trade, and now it is sort of the thrust of this president's economic vision. I think that he was in NATO to drive an argument that he probably thinks is more important, which is the one about European security and the key issue of ending the war in Ukraine. So I think when it comes to the tariff question, he's happy to take the president's line on that. And certainly this is about bringing manufacturing to the United States, but as you rightly say, that is going to take quite a long time.
All right, Chris, so the NASDAQ entered into a bear market, the biggest drop in 5 years for the markets. The Dow drops 2,000 points for only the fourth time ever. I mean, we can go on and on and on. The question related to that is, how difficult does it become for Marco Rubio and others in the cabinet who aren't directly tied to the economic part of the Trump cabinet to continue to have to answer these questions? This is all any reporter is going to want to ask them about.
Yeah, I think, Rubio is really balancing a few different things. And as I mentioned, his priority is European security. It's already difficult enough for him to go to Europe and have to assure NATO that the United States is with them because the president has been openly hostile toward the alliance. So he has to carry the president's message, and he has to represent that the United States is going to be there for them as he asks NATO members to spend a lot more money on defense than they currently are, to get as high as 5% of their GDP. Not to mention, he had a meeting with the Danish foreign minister, his counterpart in Denmark, and the Danes said that the meeting was all about Greenland, and Marco Rubio said nothing about Greenland to the press, but we can imagine that some harsh words were exchanged. So this is a day in the life of a Trump cabinet member. I think particularly for Marco Rubio, he has a really tall task to make sure that the Europeans understand that the Americans aren't going easy on the Russians. I mean, this is a major concern for the Europeans. And to boot, there are sweeping tariffs on virtually all of America's trading partners. So it's quite a lot.
Yeah, there seemed to be a lot of pressure on Rubio today about the status with the talks with Mr. Kirill. Is that how you say his name? The Russian envoy. It seemed like the reporters were really pressing him on whether or not peace was attainable. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that this is what Marco Rubio wanted to talk about. There was a meeting with Witkoff and the Russian envoy that you mentioned here in Washington. And out of that meeting, the New York Times reported that there were some discussions about, potentially direct flights between Russia and the United States, that there's some progress was made. And I don't think that Rubio necessarily embraced that. Which goes to say again that there are a couple different tracks even within the administration that are happening, and that the administration is not necessarily always in alignment. But he's pretty clear to say that the time for Russia to prove that it's serious about peace is now. It's not measured in months, he says, but weeks. This is language that we haven't seen from the president, heard from the president. He's been asked about a deadline, and he said he has a psychological deadline. It's in his head. He just won't tell anyone. Marco Rubio won't go so far as to name a date, but he says it's pretty urgent that it becomes understood whether Russia is willing to come to the table to talk about a permanent ceasefire, about a settlement for peace. He seems satisfied with. We know the Ukrainians have embraced a full ceasefire. It's been the Russians who aren't ready to go that far. And so the basic thrust of the Russia point there was, well, the time is really now for the Russians to show us if they're serious about peace, and in our conversations, we're going to come to understand that soon. And he basically says that they sent the Russian envoy, the businessman that you mentioned, back to Moscow with that message to take to Vladimir Putin, that we're ready to understand now, or else the implication being sanctions are back on the table, and other potential punishments that the U.S. can sticks, if you will, that the U.S. can bring to the table.
ABC's Chris Baccia. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk about the markets. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. The Dow was down 2,230 points on the day. The NASDAQ was off 962. The S&P was down 322. Annex Wealth Management know the difference.
Hi, I'm Jim Token, representing the auto dealers of Metro Milwaukee. Did you know that Adam member dealers employ more than 6,500 people? Plus, Adam recently completed their 15th annual Feeding America Change Your Oil campaign. To date, Adam has donated over $953,000, which provided over 3.8 million meals. Start your next car search by finding an Adam member dealer at adam.com. That's ADAMM.com.
Get the help you need Saturday morning with How To Radio. At 7, it's the WTMJ Fix-It Show with David Nason, featuring this week's guests, Accurate Basement Repair and Olson's Outdoor Power Equipment. At 9, plan your dream vacation with the Fox World Travel Show. And at 10, get financial guidance during Money Talk. Contact Annex Wealth Management for an unbiased review of your investments at annexwealth.com. How To Radio, Saturday mornings on WTMJ.
Hey, the Lenten season is here. Experience the fabulous Friday fish fry at the historic Fox and Hounds Supper Club. I love the Fox and Hounds fish fry. It's all you can eat, and it's one of the best. I had this 2 weeks ago. We went to Fox and Hounds on a Friday. I had the perch. It's nicely, very lightly breaded. It's great. All the sides and all the other meals are buy one, get one free tonight and this weekend, like the pan-fried walleye, the salmon. Michelle had a salmon dish. Scallops, pasta, big fresh salad, even the steak and lobster, buy one, get one free. Desserts and huge ice cream drinks, they are also buy one, get one free. That makes me so happy. Unwind with an old-fashioned, choose from over 20 bourbons, 100 wines, ice-cold beer, the Fox and Hounds, right in the Kettle Moraine Forest. The scenery is spectacular, a Wisconsin must-see, and your second dinner is free. Saturday, your second prime rib dinner is free. So check out the Friday Lenten Fish Fry. It's the famous Fox and Hounds.
How do we keep our prices so low? That's easy. We've removed the middlemen. Yep, most landscape suppliers have a couple of them in there, and that's okay. But each one of those men in the middle means a higher cost for your mulch, decorative stone, flagstone, and boulders. Feel free to check around. For the quality of our products, you won't find better prices. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection. You know, most mulch is reclaimed from landfills, but Erickson's mulch is ground from whole trees. Yep, we process the mulch ourselves to keep the prices nice and low, and use only premium colorant so the beautiful look of new mulch lasts. At Erickson's, we never skimp, and that's why first-time shoppers become repeat customers. Erickson's Landscape Supply. High-quality mulch and stone for a whole lot less. Commercial or residential, visit ericksonslandscapesupply.com to see our entire selection.
According to the Census Bureau, more than 12,000 Americans are turning 65 each day. It's a surge they call Peak 65, the highest number in history. 65 is traditional retirement age because it matches up with Medicare, but Gallup found 61 is the average retirement age. Some Annex clients retire early, but we also have clients working at 70 because they love what they do. You know why? Because they've got plans built by fee-only fiduciaries, plans custom-tailored to their lifestyle. They identified their wants and needs, and we went to work building investment, retirement, tax, and estate plans in their best interest. Proper retirement planning doesn't start the week before you retire. Having a focused plan built by our in-house teams will go a long way in helping you reach the retirement you desire. It all starts with the conversation you probably already have in the back of your mind. It's time to put that into action and contact Annex. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Visit annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
Hi, folks. This is Hank Albert, owner of BBC Lighting. As everyone knows, BBC is Milwaukee's premier lighting store for every major brand of lights and ceiling fans at prices far less than online. And at BBC, we service what we sell and even what we don't sell. On Saturday, April 5th, BBC, along with Jack's Animal Rescue, will be hosting a puppy party adoption event from 10 to 2, where you can meet all the puppies in person and fall in love. There's also raffles, gifts, and fun for the kids. BBC is open Saturday 10 to 4, located at 20th and St. Paul Avenue, across from Sobelman's and Bachman Furniture, near the Potawatomi Casino. Stay safe and healthy, my friends.
I'm Brett Matschke, and you're due for service.
Richlands.
Richlands Tire and Service Centers. 5 locations and all easy to find. Visit richlands.com when you're due for service.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
I'm John Mercure. Your top story: could the tumbling markets present an opportunity?
And I'm Amy Taylor, in for Julia Fellow, representing himself in court again.
I'm Debbie Loziga, and it is a bit of a tight squeeze on 43 southbound coming down from Capitol Drive all the way down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. You're back on the brakes from just before Lapham all the way down to the KK River crossing. Northbound's backed up from Kilbourne all the way up to Keefe. Westbound 94, watch for delays from 16th Street all the way through to Mitchell Boulevard. Eastbound side slowing from before 76th Street to Hawley Road, and then again right through the Stadium interchange to 35th. I'm Debbie Loziga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, showers, a low of 38. Tomorrow, rain early, a high of 51. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, the markets, another terrible day today. All 3 major indices dropping more than 5%. Uncertainty over tariffs and recessions led the S&P 500 and NASDAQ to that worst quarterly drop since 2022.
But that could mean an opportunity for those with a longer runway to retirement.
If you like a stock at a certain price and if it goes on sale, then it's just a better bargain for the longer term.
Annex Wealth Management Chief Economist Brian Jacobson suggests analyzing the long-term stability of the company in determining a buy or sell strategy.
Have the fundamentals of the business and their outlook really deteriorated to the point that justifies this new valuation that it is trading at.
Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
A Waukesha County judge grants a convicted killer's request to represent himself during his appeal.
The court will grant Attorney Covey's motion to withdraw, and from here on forward, the court will consider Mr. Brooks a pro se litigant. We will be able to communicate directly with him.
Gerald Brooks is currently serving 6 life sentences for the deaths in the 2021 Waukesha Christmas parade attack. He represented himself during the original criminal trial.
In a Fond du Lac courtroom. That's the sound of convicted killer Taylor Shauna Business being tackled by officers in that courtroom. Court TV captured her screaming and lunging at her attorney moments after her preliminary hearing started this morning. She's serving a life sentence at Taycheedah after being convicted of murdering and dismembering a man in 2022. The attorney has withdrawn from the case.
Making funding requests to be in the biennial state budget.
The city and the county of Milwaukee asked for more funding to many different programs for the next biennial state budget. County Executive David Crowley was focused on justice.
If we want to make sure that we're delivering justice, that we're keeping people at the center of our community, we have to focus on public safety because those are the largest costs for Milwaukee County at the moment.
Mayor Cavalier Johnson's request centered on youth programming and infrastructure maintenance.
Milwaukee is the economic center, it's the cultural center, it's the diversity center, it's the economic center of the state of Wisconsin. And when Milwaukee is strong, then the entire state of Wisconsin is strong.
Elizabeth Lintonen, WTMJ News.
A new travel forecast predicts anger over the Trump administration's tariffs will likely cause international travel to the U.S. to fall even further than expected. Peter Greenberg is CBS News travel editor.
It could be a number of things between the Trump immigration policies, deportation, and of course the tariffs, plus the proposal, which has not been implemented yet, but it's been on the table, to ban citizens of 43 separate countries from travel to the United States. Even if that never gets done, the optics are so strong that the perception of America as being unwelcoming is having an immediate and detrimental effect on the amount of people who are coming to this country.
Tourism experts expect the number of people arriving in the U.S. from abroad to decline by 9.4% this year.
President Trump says he will sign an executive order to keep TikTok working in the United States for another 75 days. CBS News Tech contributor Ian Scherr says there are a few reasons the president might want to have a TikTok owned by an American company.
The data would be safer on U.S. shores, and in particular, if that company wasn't somehow beholden to its Chinese owner. But also, TikTok is one of the most popular social media apps in the world. And it's particularly popular with young people, which means that if Trump ultimately does go through with the ban, he has to answer potentially a lot of young voters who would be upset about him doing this.
The platform was set to be barred in the United States on the grounds of national security starting January 19th if it did not divest from Chinese ownership.
An All-Star Weekend is coming to Waukesha.
The very best in the Professional Bowlers Association are heading to Foxview Lanes. PBA Commissioner Tom Clark tells WTMJ's What's on Tap.
This will be the first time that the PBA conducts an event on television on string pins.
String pins are a new system used for resetting. The All-Star Weekend puts another bowling controversy to the test.
Everybody wants to debate whether two-hand or one-hand is better. So we're going to have a team of two-hand bowlers against a team of one-hand bowlers.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. After beginning the season with 4 straight losses, the Brewers aim for their 4th straight win tonight, hosting the Reds. Coverage begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. The Bucks begin the day in 5th place in the Eastern Conference playoff race with 6 regular season games to play. The team is hopeful to have All-Star guard Damian Lillard back for the playoffs after he was diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis in his right calf March 25th. In college basketball, the women's Final Four semifinal games begin tonight in Tampa, Florida. The men's Final Four begins Saturday in San Antonio with all 4 number 1 seeds remaining.
College basketball tournament updates brought to you by Outdoor Living Unlimited. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 3:37.
Stop in and stock up at Fleet Farm's Truckload Super Sale this Thursday through Sunday. Get bags of KT Basic Blend bird food for just $13.99 a bag. Edge heavy-duty storage totes on sale for $7.49. Miracle Grow garden soil is 4 for $11 or $2.75 a bag. And Trophy Rock mineral blocks are on sale for $8.99 a piece. We bought big so you can spend less at Fleet Farm's Truckload Super Sale, April 3rd through the 6th.
Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? We are too. At Wintrust, we take a different approach to banking. We're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals. That's right in your backyard. Whether you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, we have tailored solutions to get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at Wintrust.com. Wintrust, different approach, better results. Banking products provided by Wintrust Financial Corp. Banks, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
How about this? Governor Evers is in Europe right now promoting trade to Wisconsin. How hard is that job?
This is a really tough job right now.
There's tariffs that are going to make you can't even buy potatoes right now in Europe because we're smacking you around so bad. But come to Wisconsin and visit the Dells.
I thought it was hard to be a tourist. You know, I felt some sense of like, hi, don't hate me. But,
yeah.
You know.
You think he has the American flag pin on his lapel, or does that kind of stay at the hotel room?
That's a tough sell. And especially we're just hearing about tourism taking a hit because of these tariffs.
Yikes. What about eggs? So a new survey shows a third of Americans have stopped buying eggs.
That's shocking.
And won't revert back until prices drop below $5 for a dozen eggs. I got to admit, I think they're like $6 a dozen right now.
Yeah,
but I'm not
I mean,
sure.
they can vary. I saw them as $6.99 in my neighborhood market.
Do you guys eat a lot of eggs?
Well, we used to, John.
Do you not because of the prices?
Well, it's really interesting because I normally love eggs, but my daughters are germaphobes, so they read a lot about disease transmission and stuff like that, and they're telling me hey, there's no guarantee, right, about avian flu being transmitted. Highly unlikely, right? So it kind of gets in the back of your head, right? So then we go to Costco, our favorite place.
Yeah, I love that too.
And they have no eggs for sale.
Because they're out?
They're not selling them.
Because of a health concern, or they can't get them?
This is the question I have, and I need to get the answer to this question because, and now this was 10 days ago. I was at Costco, maybe 12 days ago. So, but it's been for like a month and a half, no eggs.
Were you going to buy the eggs, or were you just looking out of curiosity?
Yes, trying to go get my eggs because I always buy eggs at Costco. That's the place I get them because they're reasonably priced and they have the best.
So, is there a dollar figure that would take you out of the egg market?
It used to be $5 because I could get organic, fresh farm fresh eggs from my local, friend who had chickens. So she would charge $5, and I thought I was really paying up for that, to have that farm fresh egg.
And you were because they were like $2 a carton.
Right. So I would say that's the real point of inflection for me is the $5 mark.
I know this sounds terrible, but I don't eat a lot of eggs, but we always have eggs at home. We have hard-boiled eggs on salad. I love to make egg salad for lunch, but we don't eat a lot of eggs.
You
we
don't
eat a
scramble.
lot of breakfast.
You don't scramble on the weekend?
Rarely.
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally.
We used to.
But not a
We
lot.
stopped all that now.
But for me, the number would have to be, I'm not exaggerating, they'd have to be $20 a dozen before I'd even think about it.
Oh, you really, really have to have the egg?
No, I'm just saying that I don't think that's outrageous. I mean, $6 for a dozen is 50 cents an egg.
Right.
That just doesn't. Now, if you're in a different economic status, I understand.
Right.
It really is a percentage increase. But to me, the raw number just doesn't seem
Well, here's
outrageous.
the thing. But a lot of Americans disagree with you.
I know.
My friend, because they
Most, I
said
think.
they said they wanted to elect a president based on his ability to bring down the price of eggs.
Yeah, well,
and
he
they
hasn't done that.
They were super concerned about that.
Peter on the text line writing us saying, plenty of eggs at Woodman's and at Myers, and they're only about $4 a dozen right now.
Thank you, Peter. Yeah.
So that's good. Yeah, another texter. Just saw eggs for $3.99 a dozen.
Well, people are pulling back, right? So maybe the supply is coming along. I know the bird flu is still a real concern, though, for farmers right now.
Yeah, for sure. It is 3:42 at WTMJ. Okay, so what if your husband or wife, or what if the person you're dating is on the other side of the political spectrum? What if they're not just there, but they're loud and they're in your face and they want to talk about it all the time? How do you handle sleeping with the enemy? Megan Anderson from Therapist and a Couch with us in the studio up next.
If you missed this,
can you talk about how often officers are ending up at schools and how difficult those situations are?
3,100 calls a school year. It was about 17 calls a day.
Or this.
Handpicking the press pool. What are your thoughts on that?
I have many, as you might imagine. I've been in the press pool covering the White House, the greatest privilege of my reportorial life.
Catch up on the Wisconsin's Afternoon News podcast at WTMJ.com, presented by Dave Drakamp Heating. John Mercure here for Connect Chiropractic, voted Milwaukee's top chiropractor by Milwaukee Journal Sentinel readers. They just opened in Oak Creek, and I love that. Now they're on the south side. They're in Tosa. That's the one I go to most of the time near Mayfair. They're in Delafield, right off the interstate. It's a gorgeous location. Connect Chiropractic, help with all that stuff. For me, it's neck pain and carrying stress in my upper back. They help. Sleep concerns, neuropathy. It's a long-term care focus on total wellness. They can also help with allergies and just put you where you want to be as you get ready for that pickleball match or getting on the golf course here shortly. It's Connect Chiropractic. Check them out. Connect.
At Big Fish Contracting, we want every home project to be a good story worth sharing. That's why we as a team aim to exceed your expectations. We can improve any aspect of your home. Everything from a complex remodel to the essential roof, gutters, siding, and windows. Integrity, humility, and kindness are why we've grown in southeastern Wisconsin for the last 2 decades. Visit bigfishcontracting.com to learn how Big Fish is renovating homes and redeeming an industry.
Hey, Gina, did you hear about the draft?
Wayne, there's no draft at Pella.
There's definitely a draft. Right, Wildy? Yeah, everybody's talking about it.
Pella windows are constructed of the highest quality. No drafts. But Pella should be everyone's #1 pick because right now at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, get no interest financing options or free glass upgrades.
So where is the draft?
Coon. Visit PellaWI.com today.
Certain restrictions apply and 4/30/2025.
Visit family-owned Ken Michaels Furniture and our in-store design centers where you'll still find beautiful, luxurious, heirloom-quality American-made furniture. Right now, save 30 to 35% store-wide and take advantage of our complimentary design services. Whether you're moving, renovating, or updating, our designers will help your vision become a reality. Visit Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield on Capitol Drive and in Greenfield on Highway 100 to save 30 to 35% store-wide today. Sleep better and save more with mattresses from Milwaukee Mattress and Ken Michaels Furniture. Handcrafted in our Milwaukee factory, our mattresses utilize natural materials like cotton cushioning, which dissipates body heat, Joma wool quilts for warm wintry nights and cool summer evenings, and natural latex providing superior conformability and pressure relief for aching joints. Stop in today at any Ken Michaels Furniture store and save up to 50% compared to national brands.
Let's check those roads. Debbie Loziga, how's our Friday ride?
Well, still a little bit backed up along 41 southbound. You're starting to hit the brakes just south of Appleton Avenue down past Capitol Drive. Southbound 43 slowing down from Hampton all the way down through the Marquette, over the high-rise bridge down to the KK River, so kind of a long ride there. Northbound, we are seeing delays from Kilbourne all the way up to Keefe. Also on westbound 94 from about 20th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. And then beyond that, you're looking good all the way into Waukesha County. Eastbound is a little slow from 76th Street all the way to 35th. I'm Debbie Loziga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, a little bit of rain, a low of 38 degrees. Tomorrow, rain early in the day, a high of 51. Sunday, partly cloudy, a high of 47. Monday, a little bit of light snow, a high of 38. On Tuesday, mostly sunny, a high of 41 degrees. Right now in Milwaukee, cloudy and 42. Hey, let's talk about dating. Let's talk about being married to someone who doesn't have the same political view as you have. Has it become even more partisan in the Trump area, dating? What are some keys? What are some things to think about if you live with somebody who's on the other side? Let's bring in our friend Megan Anderson, therapist and a couch. Check out the website. It's a pretty cool website. Megan, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, as always, glad to be here on a Friday.
Okay, so if you're in love with somebody who's on the other side, and we're in this environment now where it is so hyper partisan, and you go home and you want to talk about things that aren't just how'd your day go and how's the weather outside. Has it become more difficult, do you think, to live with or hang out with somebody who's on the other side?
I have to believe it has. If it's popping up more in therapy and a larger source of stress and contention than it ever has been, I have to imagine conversations at home probably are echoing the same thing.
Does it come up for you a lot in therapy? Do people come in and that's how they spend some of their time with you? Is this an issue?
More so what I see is the struggle around do I or don't I date somebody? I met this guy. I saw him on the app.
Not necessarily after they're already married.
No.
But when they're thinking about
when
somebody.
they're thinking about it. Do I commit to somebody who feels a little bit differently than me?
Well, I just had a daughter who ended a relationship over this issue. It was new. It was quick. It was going very fast and well. And she's like, I just can't do it, Mom, because I know I'm never going to see eye to eye. And I want that to be my safe place where I can say whatever I think or whatever I feel. And I said, I totally support you. But, back in the day for us, John, I don't feel like it was like this at all.
Well, the world wasn't as partisan in general.
It wasn't. No. I mean, I dated people of all different, there's one or two political beliefs, two parties,
right.
But people who had different ideologies or sets of thoughts, and it wasn't like this at all.
No.
So contentious.
Megan, what do you tell people if they are dating and they think they love someone, but this is becoming stressful?
Well, I think I have two schools of thought around it. The first school of thought is we date divided around things all the time. People date people of different religions. People date people of different financial backgrounds with different hopes and dreams. So we do this already. So I want us to keep that in mind, that this isn't the most foreign thing in the world. And I would also say, if your values and your expectations are really important to you and you feel like there's a misalignment around that, that's going to become, I think, more and more difficult than just having a political difference.
What about the phrase opposites attract? Is that just a dumb phrase that people say, or can there be some validity in that can be a positive for couples?
Well, social psychology would say similarity is the thing that actually can attract a lot of us together. But I would say that there are obviously people who feel that way. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had that phrase to begin with. And so when I think about that phrase, I sometimes think about people enjoying that fieriness behind being opposites. And that's a whole complicated thing that can probably be digested in a few therapy sessions, too.
I want to go back to that idea of values that you said, if your values align. And I think that that's so important. And that I think that people in this climate have had trouble differentiating like values from politics because they feel so enmeshed, and people have taken it to be like, this is just the ultimate, their way of thinking is the only way of thinking. Do you kind of try to encourage people to think beyond like black and white and to see more gray, or is that a dangerous place for people?
I would generally err on the side of thinking in gray is really healthy for all of us in most aspects. And so I would encourage people to try to poke holes in certain things about themselves. However, if you feel like you're sacrificing something that is really true to who you are, I wouldn't encourage anybody to do that. But to think about some level of flexibility and wiggle room, I mean, in my biased opinion, that's an indicator of health.
So you're saying, I think the word you're saying is flexibility is a form of mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
So what's the advice? I think a lot of people have become more vocally partisan in the last 5 years. What's the advice if you're married to somebody and you knew you were the opposite? And now in this world we live in, it's become more tribal and it's become more vocal and divisive. And so now you're with this person you love, you have kids, and you feel like you can't talk about what's going on in the world because it's so combative. Mm-hmm. What's the advice? How do you handle that?
A few pieces come to mind. The first thing that I think about is we really get stuck in our reactions when this happens, and all of a sudden that's the place that you're operating from. And more often than not, that doesn't lead to anything good.
You mean like, I hate him or her, or I can't stand that news station.
Like lashing out.
Well, yeah, if a piece of news comes across and you as a couple are talking about it and you have radically different opinions, it can feel like a knee-jerk response. And so I think if you're talking from a reactive place, you need to take a beat and you need to take a minute. And I would really encourage somebody to come back together, because the piece that we often miss here is actually being curious about people and asking some really intentional, thought-provoking questions. And usually when you can do that, I think you can actually start to either find a middle ground or at the very least say, hey, that makes sense to me that that's where you're coming from, even if I feel really different.
Therapist Megan Anderson is with us. So this is from the text line. Trump has made political differences more difficult than ever to handle. My husband is always conservative, and I can handle that. But the Make America Great movement has stressed it and brought politics into our relationship. Are you hearing that from people, that the world is inherently different for married couples who aren't on the same side than it used to be?
Yeah, I hear that for families too. I think this is a thing that is continuing to play out in the therapy session of like, how do I go home and talk to my older father? How do I go home and talk to my husband? How do I interact on these dating apps that everybody is highly utilizing now? So I think it's coming up in marriages because it's coming up everywhere else.
So what do you say to them? I mean, I had someone who was helping me with my animals. I'll leave it at that I don't want to betray their identity. But they were saying, my dad is such a, diehard this or that. And it was really difficult for her to see eye to eye. Do you think she should? Do you have to continue a relationship?
Well, I would always say you don't have to do anything. Anyone who feels that, my alarm bells start going off a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't say you have to do anything. And if it feels really important to you to try to preserve that relationship, I think it's worthwhile talking about how you want to restructure it, because it doesn't need to totally go away, but we also don't have to keep it going the way that it has been. I mean, that's also part of finding the gray.
Do you talk politics with your husband?
Oh, yeah. We were talking about what we were going to talk about today and got in our home heated discussion on it on Tuesday. So, I mean, it plays out for us, too.
Is it inherently still better to talk? We always say it's better to talk it out. Or are there times where it's better to decide, we're not talking about this. We're coming home and we're going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk about how our kids are doing. We're going to talk about the Brewers. We're not talking about politics.
I think if it's creating a pretty consistent streak of disruption, yeah, let's take a break from it. I think you should take a break from it until you learn how to do it better or well.
So they should check out Megan Anderson, Therapist on the Couch, get some tips.
It's amazing because, my husband and I, we agree on politics, and we still get in contentious moments because it's a stress. It's a stress on all of us.
So
right?
I think, Megan, and me too. So Michelle and I agree. We're on the same side. But because of what's happening in the world, sometimes I might feel stronger even though we're on the same side. Both of my daughters are both married, happily married, to guys that have the opposite. And they both are. And smartly, I see the guys backing down, it seems like, all the time.
Genius.
But they've found a way to talk about it. And they're younger, obviously. They're like 30-ish. And they've found a way. But I know they struggle with it. Do you find that when it comes to age groups, some are better at talking through things or worse because of where we are in our life cycle?
I think the more of a generational divide there is, the stronger it comes across. I feel like what I've seen amongst millennials and Gen Z in particular, there seems to be a little bit of an easier time talking about it, even when we disagree, and even when we're on the same side and we disagree.
All right. She's Megan Anderson, Therapist in a Couch. What's the website, Megan?
It's therapistinaCouch.com.
That's
nice
a good website. We need to get a couch in here for when you're in here.
Not the couch from my office, though. That's staying.
Megan, don't leave. I'm going to come out in the commercial break.
Me too. Who's going to do the rest of the show?
This is going to be awesome for you and me, John.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. Do you do house calls?
I can make an exception.
Oh, okay. That sounds great. Megan, have a great weekend. Good perspective. Thank you so much.
Thanks for hanging out with me.
It is 3:56 at WTMJ.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Indoor pickleball franchise The Pickler looks to summer to open its third Wisconsin location. A new facility planned in West Dallas at 2550 South 108th Street will join the other locations in Menominee Falls and Ashwaubenon. JP Morgan Chase Bank purchases 1.1 acres of property in Brookfield for $5.6 million. A new two-story branch planned along West Blue Mound Road is expected to open in the first half of 2026. Wisconsin Lutheran High School closes on the purchase of a 3-acre site that is home to a Pick and Save grocery store on West Blue Mound Road in Milwaukee. The land is expected to be used for future expansion of the school campus. The grocery store is to remain open with lease payments made to the school. I'm Linda Spice with MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Football fans, Verizon is giving you the chance to win the ultimate draft experience with the Road to the Draft sweepstakes. 10 lucky winners will win tickets to the first day of the 2025 draft in Green Bay, including round-trip car service from Milwaukee, hotel accommodations, plus access to the Verizon viewing zone. Don't miss your chance to win the ultimate draft experience powered by Verizon. Hurry to select Wisconsin Verizon locations to enter by April 13th. No purchase necessary to enter. Must be legal U.S. resident of Wisconsin or Illinois, age 21 years or older to enter. Void where prohibited. For official rules and full details, visit www.espnwisconsincontest.com.
Tune in on Sundays at 10 a.m. for the AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show. Join AccuNet's Brian and David Wickert for the most up-to-date information on mortgage trends, along with timely news on the real estate market. The housing market is in flux, but the national headlines don't often fit local market conditions. Find out what's really happening on the front lines of real estate and mortgage financing in Wisconsin and make better decisions by tuning in every Sunday at 10 a.m. The AccuNet Mortgage and Realty Show with Brian and David Wickert on WTMJ.
From my family and myself, I would like to say thank you to Gruber Law Offices for taking such good care of us.
I would say thank you because you were so human and so much of a friend during the whole process.
I'm super grateful for them representing me and doing all that they did for me.
I would just say thank you for making me feel better.
That's why I'm here, to say thank you, thank you, thank you. Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
April 6th at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, reward members get $5 off an acai bowl or an acai bowl with Nutella. Log into the app on April 6th to redeem your rewards. Terms and conditions apply.
John Mercure here for the Amazing Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford. A Lenten fish fry is a family tradition. Take your family to the Amazing Mine Shaft restaurant in Hartford for their all-you-can-eat Lenten fish fry, $7.99. You get the good service. You get to sit at the table. You get all that stuff for $7.99. You don't need to pay $15 or more. Your Mine Chef fish fry is $7.99. It's all you can eat. Relax beforehand with a sweet old-fashioned, a glass of wine, ice-cold tap beer. Kids menu that starts at $3.99, and those kids can safely play in the world-class game room quietly set aside from the dining area while you finish up your dinner. It's worth a drive to the Mine Shaft for your Friday all-you-can-eat fish fry for $7.99. And check this out. Desserts are buy one, get one free. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford, in Oshkosh, just off the interstate. Lots of seating, lots of close parking. And that Sunday brunch, all you can eat for under $15. Make a quick call. Reserve your $7.99 fish fry. It's the Amazing Mine Shaft.
Are you tired of being tired? Go to AdventKnows.com.
Traffic is sponsored by Design Exchange in Heartland and Pewaukee. Design Exchange is where discerning buyers with discriminating tastes come to find premium home decor on consignment at 25 to 40% off retail prices in Heartland and Pewaukee.
It's time for the Crew to finally throw down against a division rival.
Bunting it up the first baseline. It's a good bunt. Racing home is done. He will score. Bryce Terang gets the job done.
Our Brewers-Reds coverage starts tonight at 6 with Brewers warm-up on your home for the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
It's 4 o'clock. I'm John Mercure. Your top story closing on the worst week for the market since 2020.
I'm Amy Taylor in for Julia Fellow, and it's a no-go now for TikTok, according to China.
I'm Debbie Loziga, southbound on 43, backing up from just south of Hampton Avenue, and it's going to be slow all the way down through the Marquette to the KK River. Northbound is backed up from Kilbourne up to Keefe. On the westbound side of 94, watch for delays coming out of the Marquette all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. Once you get past that, you are good to go into Waukesha County. Eastbound 94 is a little bit slow from just east of 84th Street all the way through to 35th, and southbound 41. Heavy from Appleton Avenue down past Capitol Drive. I'm Debbie Loziga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Could be a little bit of a mess this weekend. Showers tomorrow, a low of 38. On Sunday, some showers as well, a high of 51. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, Wall Street bloodied for the second straight session on fears of a global trade war and recession. CBS business reporter Jason Brooks.
Fear is rampant on Wall Street, with stocks plunging for the second straight day, with tariffs fueling worries over a global trade war and a recession. The Dow plunged more than 2,200 points, the third biggest decline in the Dow's history, while the Nasdaq tumbled into bear market territory, 20% down from its record high. Morgan Stanley analysts write that tariffs are a return of protectionism, and that equals isolation in the short run, resulting in higher inflation and lower growth, with the risks of a recession rising sharply.
What does it mean for your 401k? Annex Wealth Management's Dave Spano joins us coming up at 4:45.
A deal between the United States and China to keep TikTok operating appears to have been derailed by President Trump's trade tariffs.
A deal that would have complied with Congress's mandate for TikTok to be divested from Chinese ownership was reportedly within grasp. But just as President Trump was about to announce it, China said no, until there could be negotiations on the president's newly imposed trade tariffs. Trump instead signed an executive order to extend TikTok's ability to continue to operate in the U.S. for another 75 days. Posting on Truth Social, he wrote, "The deal requires more work to ensure all necessary approvals are signed." Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has made 2 arrests at the Milwaukee County Courthouse and Public Safety Building this week. The Journal-Sentinel reporting the first arrest occurred after an injunction meeting took place. The second took place in the Public Safety Building hallway before a defendant's hearing. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office says they were made aware of ICE's first arrest at the courthouse, but was not given advance notice of the second. The Sheriff's Office reiterates they did not participate in either arrest, but did state it's not uncommon for local, state, and federal officials to search available databases for upcoming court hearings of individuals they are seeking.
Here locally, a Waukesha County judge grants a convicted killer's request to represent himself during his appeal.
The court will grant Attorney Covey's motion to withdraw, and from here on forward, the court will consider Mr. Brooks a pro se litigant. We will be able to communicate directly with him.
Darrell Brooks is currently serving 6 life sentences for the deaths in the 2021 Waukesha Christmas parade attack. He represented himself during the original criminal trial.
Milwaukee's newest alderman has big plans for the future of energy in the city.
Those plans include replacing We Energies with a co-op utility. It's the plan Brower believes won him Tuesday's election in the city's 3rd district.
I believe it's north of 1,200 people in District 3 alone who have signed our petition calling on the city to start this legal process.
While Brower admits buy-in on the plan is limited, he tells WTMJ he's gotten signs of interest from several city leaders.
Short term, though, what can happen at the Common Council level very soon would be the conducting of a feasibility study.
Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
A family doctor deficit is growing. The Business Insider says the U.S. is in need of 90,000 family doctors.
Dr. Mark Beamsley with the UW School of Medicine tells Wisconsin's Morning News a specialty field may mean more money.
Specialty that pays more highly certainly might be attractive to certain students.
But Beamsley says the administrative part of the job could also play a role.
Primary care doctors are spending a lot of time at the computer. There's a lot of documenting with chart notes and things to do in that regard.
And some of these docs may want less time at the screen than more. Eric Bilstead, WTMJ News.
Coming up, proving age is just another number.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 4:05.
Pain, tingling, burning in your hand and wrist, wakes you up at night, makes life difficult. Working with your hands is nearly impossible. If that sounds like you may suffer with carpal tunnel syndrome. The problem is Medicare pays for the old open surgery done in a hospital or surgery center. And it's no walk in the park. Big incision, 6-week recovery. I mean, imagine your hands being bandaged up, unable to use it for 6 weeks. So if you want to, you can have that old open surgery the government says to get, or you have another option. An ultra minimally invasive procedure done in the office that can give you immediate relief in 15 minutes and you are back to your life in just 1 day. The Ovation Technique, only at Ovation Hand Institute. You've suffered long enough. You don't have to put the fix off anymore. Visit ovationhand.com and see the difference with your own eyes. ovationhand.com.
For your next night out, revel in the fusion of artistry and flavor with Sushi at St. Kate, offering guests an elevated experience where freshness and creativity converge in every bite. St. Kate the Arts Hotel introduces an exciting new sushi menu to its culinary repertoire. Indulge in the finest seafood, freshest ingredients, and expert craftsmanship for an inspired and delectable dining journey. Experience the art of sushi at St. Kate and learn more at stkatearts.com.
We didn't write the headline, the Wall Street Journal did. The days of set and forget investing just ended for many Americans. Economic uncertainty and global unrest. It's a wake-up call. Standard financial advice is to avoid making rash decisions during market turmoil. But retirement planning isn't a set it and forget it process anymore. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. As fee-only fiduciaries, we craft personalized plans that adapt as needed. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Head to annexwealth.com and click the Get Started button.
An endangered tortoise has set a new record.
A 97-year-old Western Santa Cruz Galapagos tortoise named Mommy and her 96-year-old mate Abrazo are new parents to 4 hatchlings. The babies, not named yet, will make their public debut April 23rd. That's the 93rd anniversary of their mom's arrival at the Philly Zoo, straight from the Galapagos. Zoo officials say specialists orchestrated the coupling between Mommy and Abrazo, who they say wasn't quite sure what he was doing in the baby-making department. The roughly half-pound wee ones will live in a separate protected habitat from the adult tortoises, which can weigh up to 500 pounds. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Best story all week, Mommy, 97 years old.
Stop in and stock up at Fleet Farm's Truckload Super Sale this Thursday through Sunday. Get bags of KT Basic Blend bird food for just $13.99 a bag. Edge heavy-duty storage totes on sale for $7.49. Miracle Grow garden soil is 4 for $11 or $2.75 a bag. And Trophy Rock mineral blocks are on sale for $8.99 a piece. We bought big so you can spend less at Fleet Farm's Truckload Super Sale, April 3rd through the 6th.
For those with a warm weather fashion passion, try St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, because that's where you'll find a vast array of men's, women's, girls, and boys' warm weather apparel at the friendliest prices. So many choices, and at such a value. You can fill the closet without draining your wallet. Shop warm weather fashions at St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Wisconsin's afternoon news is on the air. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure, and in for Julia Fellow, it's Amy Taylor.
All right, let's get right to this because we've got the big cheese here in the studio with us. This is going to be a Gouda story.
I love it.
WTMJ's Sean Brenda is here. Sean, what have you been up to today?
Yeah, I was at the city of Plymouth, and they were announcing their 3rd annual Cheese Capital Festival.
Yeah, they were.
The city of Plymouth is the cheese capital?
Yes, it is. It has,
I never knew that.
The city of Plymouth, also known as the cheese capital of the world, is making preparations to have its 3rd annual cheese festival this summer from June 27th to the 28th. Executive Director of Plymouth's Chamber of Commerce, Mary Hauser, says the community used to have a cheese festival dating back to the 50s, and that a new version of the festival honors the city's cheese-making tradition.
There were street races with horses, and there was a parade, and there was a Derby Queen, and our cheese companies are very supportive in this community, and they wanted to bring some of that back and celebrate the history of cheese in our area, and what better thing to celebrate than cheese?
Now, Plymouth's 4 cheesemakers, Sartori, Sargento, Masters Gallery Foods, and Great Lakes Cheese, are all pitching in for the 2-day event, ensuring that all festival goers have a fun time. One of the newest additions to this year's festival is incorporating Road America into the celebration. Here's festival president and co-founder Jeremy Schellen.
We were able to work with them, and they have a race that they are creating called the Cheese Capital Cup. And then that is the same weekend where we're now doing our Cheese Capital Festival. And so we're tying between the two to giving people a lot of options to enjoy the area and our great racetracks and great cheese industry. We have a parade coming from the track on Friday night down to Stayer Park here in Plymouth to help kick off the event. And then races on Saturday, our parade and all of our activities on Saturday. So there's really no shortage of options.
So people can expect all sorts of fun events taking place during this festival. There will be a cheese parade downtown, followed by a mac and cheese contest where local restaurants prepare their best version of the classic dish. There will also be a children's education center so that cheesemakers can explain cheese making to kids while also giving them a chance to meet with cows and calves. But the most fun event, in my personal opinion, has got to be the cheese eating competition. John, I know you're interested. Brandon in the producer's bay, I know you're interested. Here's Hauser.
I'm interested too, Sean.
Yes, Amy, I'm sure you're interested as well. Here's Hauser again explaining what that competition is like.
That's very popular. We limit it to 10. We'll draw names out of a hat because we get a lot more people wanting to do it. And they're each given a 16-ounce block of cheddar cheese, and they have 5 minutes to consume it. And whoever eats the most during that 5 minutes is our winner. Now, this will be our third year, and we've had the same person winning for the first 2 years. So we'll hopefully maybe get a new person in this time, but.
So regardless of whether people are chosen to compete in this challenge, it will be a celebration of Wisconsin tradition and heritage, and it will be a cheesy good time.
Yeah, it will.
I'm totally heartwarmed by that. I love that.
Me too.
I like that kind of positive stuff going on.
And Sean, you'll always be our top reporter.
Aw.
We Swiss you the best. Have a great week.
Oh, man. Okay.
All right, I'm done.
Pun police.
I'm done.
Pun police.
I'm sorry.
You don't have one more?
I don't, actually. Jump in here. Come on.
I was trying to think if I could get one.
Yeah.
I can't even get one. You cheddar, forget about it?
All right, we'll take that.
Horrible.
That was just, that was not Gouda. Not Gouda at all. It's 4:14 at WTMJ.
Hey, March Madness is here. Now, technically, I can't say March Madness, but I can say this. Our coverage of the tournament will be fantastic. Hey, it's Greg Matzik. Keep it tuned to WTMJ for all the updates you need on the tournament. Sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited. During every sports update, you'll know about every buzzer beater, every upset, the Cinderella stories, and how the state teams are doing throughout the entire tournament. It's the college basketball tournament, not March Madness. Update sponsored by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Otto's Wine and Spirits. Never a better time than on a Friday to swing into Otto's. Get yourself ready for the weekend. Pick up that wine, maybe. How about a pack of seltzer, some ice-cold beer? It's Otto Wine and Spirit. Best selection, best value. It's Otto's, Wisconsin strong. They will beat any advertised price. I love the feeling in Otto's. Employee-owned, super-friendly staff, open 7 days a week. Ours here in Milwaukee since 1945. I just bought a handle of Tito's. Best price I've seen anywhere. It's Otto's Wine and Spirits. Happy 80th birthday, Otto's.
For over a century, local radio has evolved with the needs of the community. From politics to pop culture, we keep you informed, bringing you the most relevant news, online, on air, and on the go. You have trusted us with your news, sports, weather, and entertainment. Trust us to keep moving with you. Text radio to 52886 and tell Congress local broadcasting is here to stay.
Filet mignon isn't as cheap as chopped steak. But while they last, you can buy high-end Beautyrest Black and Sealy Posturepedic mattresses for nowhere near high-end prices. Hassellus Mattress is clearing out a handful of premium floor models, like a Beautyrest Black LX Hybrid was $3,599, but now it's just $971. Only a few remain, and they will sell out. Find an employee-free showroom near you at hassellus.com.
Traffic and weather. All right, Deb, how we doing?
have delays out there, and we've got a little bit of an issue on westbound 94. Specifically, it's a broken down vehicle stuck in the right lane right at St. Paul Avenue. So it's right on the 25th Street area. We've got backups basically coming out of the Marquette past that point all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. On the eastbound side, got slowdowns from about 70th Street all the way through the Stadium interchange. Southbound 41 also has some backups from Appleton Avenue down past Capitol Drive. Southbound 43 is going to be slow from Capitol all the way down through the Marquette to the KK River. And on the bypass coming out of the Hale interchange, you're looking at delays on eastbound 894 all the way to about Forest Home. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast. Tonight, showers, a low of 38. Tomorrow, rain early, a high of 51. Sunday, cloudy, 47. Monday, little light snow, a high of 38. Tuesday, sunny, and a high of 41. All right, happy Friday. You know what that means. It's time to recognize another everyday hero. Here's WTMJ's Eric Bilstad.
An everyday hero is when Wisconsin's Morning News celebrates an average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning they'd be saving a life. Today's everyday hero is a good reminder that tragedy can happen in a matter of seconds, can happen in mere moments, and unless someone is paying attention, you never know what could potentially take place. We head to India. USA Today with the story, a toddler, a child she couldn't be any older than 2 years old, is seen walking away by herself, clearly walked away from her parents. On surveillance video, you see her walking along a road, and there's a ditch along the side of the roadway, and that ditch full of rainwater. This girl is seen walking right into the water, stumbles into it, and gets submerged. Clearly, she's incapable of getting herself out. Out of nowhere, when you watch the video, you see a man running from the distance, grabs the girl, brings her to safety. This stranger who jumped into the water to get her had the gumption to spot this kid that had walked off and clearly knew she was in trouble, even if she wasn't even near him at the time. You got to see the video. Text the word hero to the Side and Unlimited WTMJ Talk and Text line 855-616-1620. Thank you to this anonymous stranger for being vigilant, for being an everyday hero, and preventing a tragedy that happened in just mere moments. Everyday Hero is sponsored by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care. Eric Bilstad, WTMJ News.
It is Everyday Hero on WTMJ.
Escape the city and relax at Lake Lawn Resort in beautiful Delavan, Wisconsin. Enjoy outdoor activities on Delavan Lake, tee off at the Lakeside Majestic Oaks Golf Course, or unwind at the award-winning Caladora Spa. With both indoor and outdoor pools, there's fun for the whole family. Take a cruise on the Lake Lawn Queen, explore stunning shores and historic landmarks, and enjoy delicious food and drinks on board. Book your stay today at lakelawnresort.com, where everything is better at the lake.
Loyal Family Renovations. You know, damage to your home's exterior often leads to headaches with your insurance adjuster. You need to be with a company that's not only going to take care of your home, that's Loyal Family, but is going to help you with the insurance part of it. That's Loyal Family. They have relationships with the adjusters. I've seen this firsthand. They're working on my roof right now, and they help me with the insurance part of it, which is super stressful. Loyal Family Renovations. They help me make sure that my roof, gutters, downspouts, even skylights are being replaced after a hailstorm rolled through. Your family's home is their priority. It's Loyal Family Renovations.
Pain can make you feel like no matter what you try, it's not going to work. Or it can make you try any and everything. And most times, that'll make you feel like you've been taken for a ride. It's hard to believe that there's a solution to your pain problem that works, is safe, and is actually affordable. But that's why most insurance plans pay for pain treatments from Rejuvenex, because they're FDA approved and they do work. Toradol and hyaluronic acid work together to substantially alleviate your pain. And we've seen patients experience pain relief for greater than 2 years after completing a series of treatments. Is it a one and done? No. But at as low as $65 per joint? It's an affordable alternative to surgery. And it's not an expensive cross your fingers and hope it works experiment. Especially for older pain sufferers, the pain treatment that Rejuvenex offers is worth trying, because the vast majority of patients who do live better lives in a lot less pain.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Go to rejuvenex.com to request your free pain evaluation.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala, nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, this is Bob Prosser, owner of Ish Nala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ish Nala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ish Nala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ish Nala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ish Nala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
What a week it's been in Washington. You think any of those guys in the Capitol actually have a 401k?
I mean, is everybody watching the bloodletting that's happening right now?
Let's check in with Allie Pecorin, ABC News, with us from Capitol Hill. Allie, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, you guys have nailed it. In terms of what Congress is focusing on, you can bet those tariffs are very much top of mind as we are all watching our 401ks
Right.
take a beating.
Hey, let me start with this, Allie. So there's been a lot of talk here amongst our congressional delegation in Wisconsin that frustration, even amongst Republicans, is building, that the president keeps taking out that big fat pen and signing all these books, and that Congress has had very little voice. Is there an appetite there to try to rein in the tariffs or try to do anything that would blunt some of what's coming from the White House?
Yeah, this has been a really interesting moment to observe for those of us that are watching Congress every day, because you're right. Up until this point in President Trump's second term, for the most part, Republicans have been pretty happy to hand him the reins and let him kind of make a lot of unilateral choices about what's happening here on Capitol Hill. When it comes to these tariffs, there is a little bit of a rift going on. Some Republicans have been a little reluctant to endorse what's going on with the tariffs. There are a number of members of Congress, especially from states where there's a lot of farmers and manufacturing, have expressed some really legitimate concern about this. So far, there hasn't been a huge pushback on Capitol Hill legislatively, but we might be seeing that change. There were a few Republicans who voted with Democrats in the Senate earlier this week to pass the bill that would have made it such that Trump's tariffs on Canada had a rollback. Now, that bill is probably going nowhere in the House of Representatives, but it still was a rebuke of the policy. And tonight, Senate's going to be doing this crazy all-night vote-a-thon on the Republican budget bill, but one thing that happens whenever they do that is that they take votes on a number of amendments, and we should expect to see a lot of Democrats bringing up amendments tonight to try to roll back the tariffs. We'll see where Republicans fall there.
Allie, isn't it this the same people, though? Murkowski and now Mitch McConnell, the same
Susan Collins,
thank you,
Rand
John.
Paul.
Yeah, Rand Paul. Those same people that will come together and say, okay, we object. But who else? I want to know if there's anybody seriously talking about what is going on with the Dow plunging 2,200 points and there's tariff chaos,
Yeah, it's a good question. So you are right in terms of these big moments on the Senate floor where you're seeing people cast votes. It is our usual group of suspects, right? It's the same group that's willing to stick their neck out against Trump in a number of other ways. But with the tariffs, we are seeing a couple of voices who are a little less vocal coming out and expressing some skepticism. So, for instance, we saw Iowa Republican Chuck Grassley partner with a Democrat on a bill that would make it so that in the future, Congress has to approve any tariffs that President Trump tries to put in place, or any president going forward. So that's kind of a new name. In addition, we've seen a number of lawmakers on the Hill who maybe haven't gone so far as to call for like a legislative adjustment, but who have been a little bit skeptical. Senator Mike Rounds, he's been a little on the fence about what's going on here. Senator Tom Tillis, very similar camp. So we are seeing a number of them start to sort of question whether this is the right policy. That said, for now, a lot of Republicans on the Hill are taking this wait-and-see approach that President Trump is advocating for, and we've seen him say that, where he says there may be a little bit of short-term pain for what he believes is going to be a longer-term gain. We're going to have to see whether that bears out in the market over the next couple months.
Hey, Allie, we've only got 1 minute, but I wanted to ask you about Mike Johnson. You talked about a Senate bill, and it likely won't go anywhere in the House. How much power does Mike Johnson have?
Mike Johnson has a good deal of power when it comes to a lot of this stuff because he gets to decide what gets put on the floor. And so as long as he is in close coordination with President Trump, he's very likely going to decide not to take up bills that put his members in a difficult situation of maybe having to vote against the president. So he does have a lot of power here. There are certain maneuvers the Democrats can try to bring certain privileged bills to the floor. Right now, we haven't seen any effort yet that would be privileged like that in the House. But, Democrats are trying to exercise every tool available, so we'll have to wait and see whether they bring forward anything that Johnson won't be able to block.
Allie Pecorin, ABC News at the Capitol Hill. Don't stay up all night for that Votorama, Allie.
Oh, I can't make any promises.
Have a good weekend.
Thank you.
It is 4:27 at WTMJ. Time for the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. All right, let's look at the actual numbers from Wall Street today. The Dow was down 2,230 points. I never thought I'd say that. That's 5.5% after yesterday's big sell-off. The NASDAQ was down 962. That's almost 6% after yesterday's big sell-off. The S&P 500, it dropped 322. That's almost 6% after yesterday's big sell-off. It's Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference. Now's the time to put your stuff in the hands of Annex. It's financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. I'm John Mercure, joined by my friend Jay Saunders, the PR manager at Potawatomi Casino Hotel. Jay, thanks for being with us. April's going to be busy at Potawatomi. Tell us about it.
John, always good to talk to you. A busy and fun month you won't want to miss. Let's start with April 14th, which is a holiday here in Milwaukee, 414 Day. We're going to have $4.14 food and drink specials throughout the property, cheese curds and a special 414 hot dog at Potawatomi Marketplace, and beers and brats at the annex of the Sportsbook, all for $4.14. Speaking of the Sportsbook, if you place a bet on the Brewers game that day, you get a free hat. And everyone can get a free 414 T-shirt to help celebrate our great city.
Man, I love that. And the draft, Jay, is coming to Green Bay later this month. I'm sure you guys are going to be celebrating.
Oh, this is going to be a statewide party, John. You know this. The sportsbook is going to be really busy with the draft excitement, all sorts of betting opportunities, like who's the first overall pick. Hoping to have some special surprises for you, like we normally do. Plus, all weekend long, we'll have $1 off of draft beers. And if you want to head up to Green Bay without all the traffic headaches, we've got a cool offer through our hotel that includes hotel room and shuttle up to Green Bay and some food and beverage options.
Oh, man, that sounds so much fun. And what's cooking at Potawatomi this month?
Well, right now we're still in Lent. So Fridays we've got the 5 different seafood meals at 5 different restaurants. On Easter Sunday, we're going to have a very special dinner for 2, Easter feast at Dream Dance Steakhouse, including steak and lobster and a special dessert. Dream Dance also right now has a new prime rib dinner special on Thursday nights. And on the casino floor, we've got 2 really cool new promotions. Enchanted Spins is a quest for you to win your share of $300,000. And on Saturdays, Gold Breaker's back. You can win $10,000 just for sitting in your favorite slot machine.
For more info, check out Potawatomi.com. Jay Saunders, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, John.
Traffic is sponsored by the all-new Burghardt Sporting Goods.
The all-new Burghardt Sporting Goods, the Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center in New Berlin and Fox Point.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 4:30. I'm John Mercure. Your top story, federal arrest at a Milwaukee County courthouse.
I'm Amy Taylor in for Julia Fellow, prioritizing public safety in the state budget.
Right at the ramp from Burleigh, we've got an accident off on the right shoulder, so watch out for that. We got delays basically from Watertown Plank Road all the way up to Burleigh. Southbound side's backing up from just before Appleton Avenue down to Capitol as well. Southbound 43 backing up from Capitol Drive all the way down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge. Northbound slow from the Marquette up to Keefe. And then westbound 94. Watch for delays from 20th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, a little bit of rain, a low of 38. Tomorrow, maybe a morning shower, a high of 51. It's currently 42 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has made 2 arrests in the Milwaukee County Courthouse and Public Safety Building this week. The Journal-Sentinel reporting the first arrest occurred after an injunction meeting took place. The second took place in the Public Safety Building hallway before a defendant's hearing. The Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office says they were made aware of ICE's first arrest at the courthouse, but was not given advance notice of the second. The Sheriff's Office reiterating they did not participate in either arrest, but did state it's not uncommon for local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to search available databases for upcoming court hearings of individuals they're seeking.
A Waukesha County judge grants a convicted killer's request to represent himself during his appeal.
The court will grant Attorney Covey's motion to withdraw, and from here on forward, the court will consider Mr. Brooks a pro se litigant. We will be able to communicate directly with him.
Gerald Brooks is currently serving 6 life sentences for the deaths in the 2021 Waukesha Christmas parade attack. He represented himself during the original criminal trial.
In a Fond du Lac courtroom. That's convicted killer Taylor Schabusiness being tackled by officers in that courtroom. Court TV capturing her screaming and lunging at her attorney moments after her preliminary hearing started. Schabusiness is serving a life sentence at Taycheedah Correctional Institution after being convicted of murdering and dismembering a man in 2022. Her attorney has withdrawn from the case.
Turning to the markets now, uncertainty over tariffs and recession fears led the S&P 500 and NASDAQ to their worst quarterly drops since 2022.
But that could mean an opportunity for those with a longer runway to retirement.
If you like a stock at a certain price and if it goes on sale, then it's just a better bargain for the longer term.
Annex Wealth Management Chief Economist Brian Jacobson suggests analyzing the long-term stability of the company in determining a buy or sell strategy.
Have the fundamentals of the business and their outlook really deteriorated to the point that justifies this new valuation that it is trading at.
Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Milwaukee's newest alderman has big plans for the future of energy in the city.
Those plans include replacing We Energies with a co-op utility. It's the plan Brower believes won him Tuesday's election in the city's 3rd district.
I believe it's north of 1,200 people in District 3 alone who have signed our petition calling on the city to start this legal process.
While Brower admits buy-in on the plan is limited, he tells WTMJ he's gotten signs of interest from several city leaders.
Short term, though, what can happen at the Common Council level very soon would be the conducting of a feasibility study.
Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
Milwaukee's newest alderman has big plans for the future of energy in the city.
Those plans include replacing We Energies with a co-op utility. It's the plan Brower believes won him Tuesday's election in the city's 3rd district.
I believe it's north of 1,200 people in District 3 alone who have signed our petition calling on the city to start this legal process.
While Brower admits buy-in on the plan is limited, he tells WTMJ he's gotten signs of interest from several city leaders.
Short term, though, what can happen at the Common Council level very soon would be the conducting of a feasibility study.
Adam Roberts, WTMJ News.
The Professional Bowlers Association is converging in Waukesha for the 2nd annual All-Star Weekend at Foxview Lanes. Saturday will be the first time the PBA televises an event using string pins. PBA Commissioner Tom Clark explains on WTMJ's What's on Tap.
It's always been the pins stand free on the deck, and they fly around based on how you hit the pins. But now, with a string on each pin and the machine just picking them up by the string and then placing them right down where they were, creates a lot of different dynamics.
The PBA is putting another bowling controversy to the test with a battle between one-handed and two-handed teams.
All right. Time now for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All sports desk. After beginning the season with 4 straight losses, the Brewers aim for their 4th straight win tonight, hosting the Reds. Coverage begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. The Bucks begin the day in 5th place as the Eastern Conference playoff race with 6 regular season games to play. The team is hopeful to have All-Star guard Damian Lillard back for the playoffs after he was diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis in his right calf March 25th. In college basketball, the women's Final Four semifinal games begin tonight in Tampa, Florida. The men's Final Four begins Saturday in San Antonio with all 4 number 1 seeds remaining.
College basketball tournament updates brought to you by Outdoor Living Unlimited. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 4:36.
April 6th at Tropical Smoothie Cafe, reward members get $5 off an acai bowl or an acai bowl with Nutella. Log into the app on April 6th to redeem your rewards. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, John Mercure here for Town Bank. Are you sick of not being your bank's top priority? I used to feel that way sometimes. I was with another really big bank in town, had issues, couldn't get people to get back to me. Had a problem and customer service was almost non-existent. I don't feel that way at Town Bank. At Town Bank, they take a very different approach to banking. They're proud to be your one true banking partner focused on your unique financial goals, and they're located right in your backyard. I like that because it is super convenient. If you're opening your first account, buying a home, planning for the future, or starting a business, they have tailored solutions to help get you there. Stop settling and start experiencing a better way to bank at townbank.us. Town Bank is part of the Wintrust family of community banks. At my bank, it's Dan and Matt and Big Tony. They're absolutely incredible. And you know what? There's a Dan, a Matt, and a Big Tony, maybe a little cuter, though, at every Town Bank location. Check them out today. Different approach, better results. Hey, Dan, I'm just kidding, by the way. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. It's Wisconsin's bank. It's Town Bank.
Built Right. One location saves you money.
You gotta get to Built Right today.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
Thanks for hanging out with us on this Friday. Been a busy week. Fans packed the ball yard for the home opener. The election results are in. Liberation Day leads to market trouble and more. It's the Week in Review brought to you by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
What we do here is go back.
Let me first hand out two $1 million checks in appreciation.
Wisconsin State Attorney Josh Call's attempts to block Elon Musk from distributing $2 million to voters who signed a petition to get rid of, quote, activist judges has been stopped by the state appellate court.
I feel like this is one of those things that may not seem that it's going to affect the entire destiny of humanity, but I think it will.
The Brewers host the Royals this afternoon for their home opener.
This is opening day with WTMJ.
Oh, yeah, we are. We are live from American Family Field. The sun just came out a minute ago. I can already smell the grills going. A hint of sausages in the air.
I'm here with Brewers principal owner Mark Attanasio.
Maybe have a beer at the game finally.
Yeah,
I don't think I've ever had one here.
Wait, hang on a second. You've never had a beer at Miller Park, now American Family Field?
Blasphemy against the Holy Spirit.
Bunting it up the first baseline. It's a good bunt. Racing home is done. He will score. Bryce Terang gets the job done.
Overnight, New Jersey Democrat Cory Booker taking to the Senate floor, speaking through the night.
If they're successful, what kind of country will we be? I'm here because I said at the beginning, the central precept of our country, founded on principle that we should cut health care from the sick. When our country stands up, we don't bully our neighbors like Canada. We have a government now that isn't ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. We have a country now where a president says, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for Donald Trump. I yield the floor.
I'm dying here.
Get out and vote.
Decision Wisconsin, polls are open across the state. Voters deciding the hotly contested Supreme Court race between Dane County Judge Susan Crawford, Waukesha County Judge Brad Schimmel.
The decision will determine whether the 7-member court remains in liberal control or if conservatives regain the majority they lost 2 years ago.
Susan Crawford declaring victory in the race for Wisconsin Supreme Court.
As a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world for justice in Wisconsin. And we won.
I can't thank you enough for everything you did, but just didn't work.
The Crawford win was a result of pent-up anger at Donald Trump and Elon Musk more than a love of Susan Crawford.
First opportunity for Democrats in a swing state to express their anger and displeasure.
Hollywood icon Val Kilmer is dead at age 65 after a battle with pneumonia.
Why, Johnny Ringo, you look like somebody just walked over your grave.
My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day.
It's a national emergency. That's what the president today was declaring to give him the ability to regulate imports.
Starting tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations.
Today, you know, the best thing Donald Trump did all day was wait to make his announcements on tariffs till after the markets closed. Futures, by the way, for tomorrow, not looking good. They are really down big time ahead of the open.
Some of the most dramatic video of the tornado that smashed into Lake City, Arkansas was captured by Connor Anderson.
The only thing I could do is just hold on to the pole and pray for the best.
A missing pregnant teenager from Beaver Dam in Dodge County has been found safe.
A missing juvenile that was reported missing out of Wisconsin is at Love's at this time. Her name is Sophia Franklin.
This is a textbook example of someone making a 911 call because they didn't think something was right. We responded, and sure enough.
It feels great to know she's safe.
3 schools will stay closed as lead cleanup continues at Milwaukee Public Schools.
Sean Kane, who has served as Senior Director of Facilities and Maintenance Services, will no longer serve in that role and is separating from the district.
Milwaukee's health commissioner was working with an environmental team that's part of the CDC. That team was just let go, part of the sweeping layoffs of federal health workers.
At this point, from what I understand, there aren't any lead experts at the CDC anymore.
The Bucks going to Philadelphia. They win by 13 behind Giannis's 35 points, 17 rebounds, and a career-high 20 assists.
What a week, eh?
What are we going to do?
Nebraska, Oscar.
I'm your huckleberry.
Take care and goodbye.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profile the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes. There, yeah, she flew off the road right at a bridge, so she went down an embankment. No one could see her vehicle until a guy named Johnny Martinez happened to come by.
I said, "Ma'am, how long have you been here?" And she said, "I've been here since Wednesday night." And I said, no, it's today's Tuesday.
Everyday Hero, Thursdays at 6:40. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
Hey, John Mercure here for Annex Wealth Management. Let's be real, okay? When it comes to your investment and retirement plan, you need to get it right. It's not a nice to have. It's essential. You got to get it right. Maybe you're a DIY investor. Maybe you're realizing your current advisor doesn't quite cut it. Either way, put your planning in the hands of the teams that I trust at Annex Wealth Management, and I have for a very long time. Here's the deal. Annex is a fee-only fiduciary all the time, every day. That means their focus is solely on you, not on commissions. You've worked hard. You've saved smart. You've invested with purpose. Annex will partner with you to build a personalized plan, a roadmap to the retirement you've envisioned. Right now, there's a lot of volatility. It's crazy out there. It's more important than ever to have a seasoned pro in your corner. They offer financial planning tailored to your needs at Annex, Annex Comprehensive Wealth for a complete strategy, Annex Private Client for high net worth individuals and families, and Annex Ignite for a focused boost. So don't settle for just good enough. Know the difference. Take the first step at AnnexWealth.com. Click the Get Started button. Michelle and I did that years ago. Your partner in financial clarity is Annex Wealth Management. And check out Money Talk. That's the Annex Wealth Management Show, Saturdays at 10 on WTMJ.
Is outdoor living limited at your place? Well, imagine a deck, a patio, pergola, fire pit, maybe even an outdoor kitchen in your yard. Outdoor Living Unlimited is a local, family-owned company that consults, designs, and builds these things. They're the best. Let them make Outdoor Living Unlimited in your yard like they did in ours. We are Wisconsin. We live outdoors as much as possible. Make the most of it with help from Outdoor Living Unlimited. See OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Traffic is sponsored by St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores, Highway 100 and Layton Avenue in Greenfield, 23rd and Lincoln and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee. Great bargains and a great cause. You're gonna love it. St. Vincent de Paul Thrift Stores.
Traffic and weather. Debbie, how we doing?
Well, we still have this crash on 41 northbound right at the ramp from Burleigh. The right shoulder is blocked right now. So backups coming up from Watertown Plank Road all the way up to Burleigh. Southbound on 41 backing up from Appleton Avenue down to Burleigh. We've got northbound 43 also backing up out of the Marquette up to Keith. The southbound side heavy from just south of Capitol Drive all the way down through the Marquette and over the high-rise bridge down to Lapham. Back on the brakes from Lincoln all the way down to about Howard Avenue. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
And let's check out the forecast. Tonight, a few showers, a low of 38. Tomorrow, morning shower, a high of 51. Sunday, partly cloudy, 47. Monday, light snow, 38. Tuesday, mostly sunny, a high of 41 degrees. Right now, cloudy and 42. All right, let's talk about your money and how the tariff policy is basically setting it on fire. Dave Spano is the CEO of Annex Wealth Management, and he's the smartest money guy that I know, and he is with us this afternoon. Dave, thank you so much for making some time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, John.
All right, Dave, I got so many things I want to ask you about, but I guess I just want to get to it and get a high-level overview to begin with. The major indexes all drop about 10% in 2 days because of the tariff stuff. Where are we when you look more long-term instead of looking back the past couple of days? How do you digest what's going on right now?
Yeah, I think that's really a good place to start. So we do know, as you said, the NASDAQ is now down 23% from its peak in bear market territory, and the S&P is now down 17%, including what happened here today from its peak. So we're near bear market territory. What does that mean? That means that the market is likely, 50-50 chance that we're going to enter into a recession. Well, that's based on where we are right now. So I think the question is, where do we go from here? And so we sit down and we went into this thing probably about a week or two ago, and we laid it out. What's the worst case, the base case, or the best case when he rolls out these tariff policies? And we ended up in the worst case, a bucket. And so the market was not ready for that, and so it is repricing everything that has come out. Now, there's two parts of this, John. There's this 10% tariff that is going to be applied, and that's across the board. And then there's this other bucket, if you can think about it in that terms, that is these reciprocal tariffs. Now, we can argue about, the reciprocal tariff chart that he put up the other day was not actually accurate, but either way, the reciprocal tariff part, that's where these deals are going to be made. And so you think, Monty Hall is going to walk down the aisle here pretty soon and start playing Let's Make a Deal. What happens in the next week or two as he likely walks some of this back, that then the market will have an opportunity to react probably in a more positive fashion.
All right, let me ask you a follow-up to that, Dave. So historically when this has happened, and thank goodness there hasn't a lot of history in this area, how fast can the market come back? I mean, 10% in 2 days is enormous. Is there the likelihood we could have a day 3 weeks from now where markets go up 6%, or how unlikely is that?
Well, all right, there's two parts to that question. Number one is, what does the reaction look like? And it could be a V reaction. That's what you're describing. It could be a U. In fact, it went down quick and kind of hangs out on the bottom for a while and then recovers. Or there could be other, types of shapes. It really is, you have to understand the other part of that side, and is there's been a lot of technical damage that has been done, and the market has to recover from this. And over 40 years, John, we've seen all kinds of recoveries back to 87, through 1998, up until March of 2020. It reacts differently. In 2020, it bounced back because of the facts and circumstances. We learned more. And so I think when we learn more over the next couple of weeks, the market has an opportunity to really digest it. It's kind of been an emotional reaction. And if you want to try to find a silver lining here, which there is a possibility of one, even though we mentioned we might enter into a recession, the flip side of that is you could start to see a positive effect. What does that mean? That you could really see a significant amount of onshoring. There's been about $5 to $6 trillion that has been earmarked. We'll see if that comes to fruition, or if it's an even bigger number. That will drive GDP up. Number two, I think now that you're going to start to hear about tax reform. He wanted, his first in Trump 1.0, he did tax policy first, and then he did tariffs. He's flipped the switch. And so he did tariff policy first, and then he's going to talk about tax policy. So if people's taxes go down, we'll see what that looks like. That would be a positive. And the third thing is the Federal Reserve now, who has been sitting on their hands, they now have an opportunity to start lowering rates. The Fed funds future is suggesting between 4 and 5 rate cuts this year alone.
Yeah, today, Jerome Powell said, the chair of the Federal Reserve, that the tariffs were risking even higher inflation and slower growth than initially expected. So that means they went into it knowing this was going to hurt and that it was worse than they expected, right? So this is a pretty downbeat tone on the outlook of the United States economic situation.
It is, Amy, at the moment. And so the Federal Reserve, they have to look backwards because they try not to guess. So they look at the actual numbers and the facts. And we got a good economic report today in the jobs report. The unemployment number stayed pretty flat. And so it is Jerome Powell to be a little downtrodden. It's his mode. And so we'll have to see. But the Fed funds futures, Amy, are suggesting that we will get 4 or 5 rate cuts, despite the fact that lower rates generally mean higher consumption. Think about it, what would happen in the housing market. If we start to see mortgage rates come down by 1.5%, does that increase home selling? Does it increase people, putting money into their houses? So that could be a positive. Now, that's not going to happen overnight, just like onshoring. That's obviously not going to happen overnight. People have got to find the plants and the land and build the places and retool them and train the workers. That is a more longer-term perspective. But in the short term, I think maybe even as soon as next week, we could start hearing more details about a tax plan. And if we get that, the market's going to like that, especially if it's a reduced corporate taxes, because obviously these numbers are really hurting them. And the second thing is, what does it mean for individuals? If individual taxes go down across the board, sans the highest income levels, that could be positive. So I'm not trying to put a positive spin on this. I am saying I have been through this before, and I would suggest that people don't get crazy right now and start making these downward moves in their 401ks. If you sell, you've now made those permanent. And if you're trying to time the market, this will likely get better in 3-6 months from now. And if you look at every time that we've gotten a correction of this magnitude over the last number of decades, and if you look out 1 year from that time period, the market has reacted positively.
Dave, that's really good advice about holding on to your stuff. Isn't this different, though? Or isn't this potentially different? The pandemic happened. It was a pandemic. And we got answers and solutions and things changed. The housing market was different. This is the power of one man able to stand up there, and he's very volatile himself and unpredictable. He could decide even when things start to get better that I'm going to bring that big fat pen out and sign a fat book and change things again. Does that make this different?
It does. And so we're not trying to suggest that we know what he's going to do. In fact, while I've been up since 4 o'clock this morning, John, working, the man is playing golf.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, not my favorite guy in the world today. But the fact of the matter is, if you believe, and by the way, we did a study of this, people's political leanings make them feel differently in the short term about markets. And so if you are a liberal, you will really hate what's happening right now. And if you're conservative, you kind of don't like it. But either way, it could work out down the road. It was a Buffettism is in the short term, the market is a voting machine, but in the long term, it is a weighing machine. And we think over the long term, lower taxes, lower interest rates, more productivity here in the United States, and more trade in the United States will be a positive long term for our economy.
All right, Dave, I got one more for you. It's a short one.
Yeah.
How would you like to be Tony Evers? Tony Evers on a long-planned trip to Europe to drum up business, trying to get new business to come to Wisconsin. He's there right now. That's not an easy deal.
Yeah, that's bad timing. But but maybe he can talk about some other things. By the way, in Europe right now, they're not all in the same boat, right? So Britain has a lower trade policy than some of the other countries. And so, France is saying, Macron is saying, don't do these things, and we're not going to move our plants. Germany's perhaps talking about moving some things, and Italy is all in on this thing. So, here's a really bold prediction. You might see more distraction and more disruption in the EU than you're going to see anywhere else because they are not getting along at the moment.
That's a great observation. You always make us feel better, David. Smart analysis. Dave Spano is the president of Annex Wealth. He's the CEO of Annex Wealth Management. Check out the show here on the weekends on WTMJ. Dave, thank you so much for being with us.
Good. Thanks, John and Amy.
It is 4:56.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Indoor pickleball franchise The Pickler looks to summer to open its third Wisconsin location. A new facility planned in West Dallas at 2550 South 108th Street will join the other locations in Menominee Falls and Ashwaubenon. JP Morgan Chase Bank purchases 1.1 acres of property in Brookfield for $5.6 million. A new two-story branch planned along West Blue Mound Road is expected to open in the first half of 2026. Wisconsin Lutheran High School closes on the purchase of a 3-acre site that is home to a Pick and Save grocery store on West Blue Mound Road in Milwaukee. The land is expected to be used for future expansion of the school campus. The grocery store is to remain open with lease payments made to the school. I'm Linda Spice with MilwaukeeBusinessJournal.com on 620 WTMJ.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee from the Annex Wealth Management Studios. This is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Slide into your neighborhood Century Food Store to score the freshest produce, tastiest treats, and everything in between. Now through Wednesday, save on 48-ounce selected varieties Stone Ridge ice cream, 2 for $7. 18 to 24.6-ounce selected varieties Vandecamp's fish, $4.49. 4.5 to 5.3-ounce selected varieties Dan and Greek yogurt, 5 for $5. 9.5 to 10.75-ounce selected varieties Hostess mini donuts, 2 for $4.
Let's get some strawberries.
Attention shoppers, safe.
Okay. Ooh, pineapple fulfills every need.
While you're shopping, a drive way back, it's a gunner.
There's something goofy going on with the PA.
Need a price check and I'll take me out to the ball game.
See, what is going on?
You're hearing things. We're at Century Foods, and you can't take your mind off winning that ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes.
I'm hoping to throw out the first pitch at a Milwaukee baseball game.
Or attend batting practice.
Or hold the finish line ribbon for the racing sausages.
You don't say.
The ultimate baseball fan sweepstakes at Century Foods. Enter on Century's Facebook or Instagram by July 30th.
John Mercure here for Sit Mean Sit Dog Training. My dogs are absolutely the best thanks to Sit Mean Sit Dog Training. They behave better. They're less jumpy. They're less barky. They're not perfect dogs, but they're much better dogs, in large part because I found out how to be a better dog owner. That's thank you to Sit Mean Sit Dog Training. Before I ever started reading these ads, I was a customer. Went in there, Michelle and I were kind of like, oh my gosh, how do we get Bella and Baxter to behave better? They've got it figured out as Sit Mean Sit. They're reliable. They've got the best trainers and the best techniques. It's Sit Mean Sit Dog Training. Start with a free consultation today. It's Sit Mean Sit.
At Blaine's Farm and Fleet, we believe in making the most of what you love, making sure your money is as well spent as your time. So as you start your spring projects, we have the value you need to make them your own. Right now, Rewards members get a free $10 gift card with an $80 estate fertilizer purchase. 7-pound bags of Blaine's brand Cardinal Songbird food, 2 for $12. Plus select Diamond Crystal softener salt, $7.50 for Rewards members. Blaine's Farm and Fleet. Being original.
Hey everybody, Debbie Lozica here for Kohler Services. And I'm so excited because I've chosen Kohler Services to transform my old bathtub into a beautiful new Luxstone shower this month. Kohler Services makes it so easy. They came out to my home, took measurements, and answered all of my questions, and I was actually able to feel the crushed stone wall material and design my custom shower. I can't wait for my installation, and you can request a free quote for a custom Kohler Luxstone shower by visiting KohlerServicesWI.com. That's KohlerServicesWI.com.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee. Milwaukee Mattress, where top quality mattresses are priced hundreds less than premium national mattress brands. Found exclusively at Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, and downtown Milwaukee.
It's time for the Crew to finally throw down against a division rival.
Bunting it up the first baseline. It's a good bunt. Racing home is done. He will score. Bryce Terang gets the job done.
Our Brewers Reds coverage starts tonight at 6 with Brewers warm-up on your home for the Brewers. News Radio 620 WTMJ Milwaukee.
I'm John Mercure, your top story, ICE arrest in Milwaukee County.
I'm Amy Taylor in for Julia Fellow. Cuts to teacher training programs.
I'm Debbie Lazaga. We do still have this accident on 41 northbound right at the ramp from Burleigh. It's off on the right shoulder, so just watch out for the delays coming up from Blue Mound Road all the way up to that point at Burleigh. On southbound, we got delays from Appleton Avenue down to Burleigh. Eastbound 94, we got some heavy traffic right past Barker Road all the way to, just past Calhoun. Back on the brakes from before 84th Street all the way to 35th. The westbound side, heavy from 25th Street all the way to Mitchell Boulevard. And then on southbound 43, we've got some backups from just south of Capitol Drive down through the Marquette over the high-rise bridge down to the KK River crossing. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, a little bit of rain, a low of 38. Tomorrow, a little bit of rain, a high of 51 degrees. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, federal arrests at Milwaukee County buildings.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has made 2 arrests in the Milwaukee County Courthouse and Public Safety Building this week. The Journal-Sentinel reports the first arrest occurred after an injunction meeting took place, and the second arrest took place in the Public Safety Building hallways before a defendant's hearing. Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office say they were made aware of ICE's first arrest at the courthouse, but was not given advance notice of the second arrest. The Sheriff's Office reiterates it did not participate in either arrest, but did state that it is not uncommon for local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to search available databases for upcoming court hearings of individuals they are seeking. Sean Brinda, WTMJ News.
A Waukesha County judge grants a convicted killer's request to represent himself during his appeal.
The court will grant Attorney Covey's motion to withdraw. And from here on forward, the court will consider Mr. Brooks a pro se litigant. We will be able to communicate directly with him.
Gerald Brooks is currently serving 6 life sentences for the deaths in the 2021 Waukesha Christmas parade attack. He represented himself during the original criminal trial, too.
Stocks plunged for a second day in a row following President Trump's announcement of new tariffs. Chief economist for PNC Financial Group, Gus Fauché, has this to say about what spooked investors.
Chair Powell signaled that he's in no rush to cut the Fed funds rate. They want to see what the impacts of the tariffs are on growth and inflation before they move. And I think there was some sentiment in the market that perhaps the Fed might be a little more eager to cut rates now, given the tariff announcement. But Chair Powell signaled that they're not in any particular rush. And so I think markets took that as a negative.
Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell said the agency will not move to cut interest rates until they see more of the effect the tariffs will have on the economy.
The Supreme Court has paved the way for the Trump administration to cut hundreds of millions of dollars in teacher training programs.
The Trump administration wanted to cut the funding, saying it ran afoul of its policies barring diversity, equity, and inclusion, or DEI. So while the lawsuit continues, the nation's highest court said the cuts could resume. In a 5-4 ruling, justices said the 8 Democrat-led states involved do have the means to keep running the programs with their own money, at least for now. Chief Justice John Roberts joined the 3 liberal justices on the high court in dissenting. The states that filed the lawsuit include California, Massachusetts, Colorado, and Wisconsin. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
Coming up, why cheese lovers will flock to Wisconsin this spring.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time 5:04.
Beer fans, travel lovers, and history buffs, this is your dream vacation. Join me, Sandy Max, on a 10-day journey through Germany, Austria, and the Czech Republic. We'll enjoy Munich's famous beer halls, sip our way through Salzburg's historic breweries, and discover Vienna's culture and craft beer scene. Then end the tour in Prague, where ancient history meets modern brews. From iconic castles to authentic flavors, grab your passport and let's raise a glass to the ultimate beer adventure. Limited spots available. Book now. Email me, sandy@WTMJ.com to learn more.
Stop in and stock up at Fleet Farm's Truckload Super Sale this Thursday through Sunday. Get bags of KT Basic Blend bird food for just $13.99 a bag. Edge heavy-duty storage totes on sale for $7.49. Miracle Grow garden soil is 4 for $11 or $2.75 a bag. And Trophy Rock mineral blocks are on sale for $8.99 a piece. We bought big so you can spend less at Fleet Farm's Truckload Super Sale, April 3rd through the 6th.
Get your rock solid guaranteed pre-approval to buy at accunet.com.
Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time is 5:06.
President Trump is extending the deadline for TikTok's owner to find a new non-Chinese-based buyer.
Trump had previously delayed the app's ban via executive order on his first day in office, effectively giving ByteDance until April 5th to comply with the law. The extension gives ByteDance an additional 75 days. Amazon, Walmart, and Oracle are among the many reported interested buyers. Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
TikTok boasts approximately 1.6 billion monthly active users worldwide.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All Sports Desk. It's Brewers Reds tonight. Coverage follows the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. And it's the Bucks beginning the day in 5th place in the Eastern Conference playoff race with 6 regular season games to play. In college basketball, the men's Final Four begins Saturday in San Antonio. All 4 number 1 seeds remain. College basketball tournament updates brought to you by Outdoor Living Unlimited. Outdoor Living Unlimited WTMJ News Time, 5:07.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA, founder of Right Choice Tax Resolution and best-selling author on how to have less stress with the IRS. We have talked with a number of new clients who told us the same story. They had a tax situation and went with one of those national firms with the TV and radio ads. They guarantee they can settle your tax owed for pennies on the dollar. They take a $10,000 fee up front, and then you never hear from them again. We are a local firm and just want to help you resolve your situation so you can get on with your life. Don't let your bank account get wiped out, your paycheck or Social Security check get garnished, or a lien put on your house so you can't sell it or get refinanced. The state can even put a hold on your occupational license. Make the right choice and call 844-222-1192 or visit rightchoicetax.us today. Schedule a free meeting so we can talk and come up with a plan to solve your situation right now. It will not go away if you bury your head in the sand. Call now, 844-222-1192, or visit rightchoicetax.us.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-230-2777. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-230-2777. That's 800-230-2777 for $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-230-2777. 800-230-2777.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News is on the air. Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue in beautiful downtown Milwaukee. Here are your hosts, John McCure, and in for Julia Fellow, it's Amy Taylor.
Yes, happy Friday. Glad that you're with us.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here with you, John.
All right, here we go. On Friday, we do this little segment.
In case you missed it.
All right, I'm up first. So, figure skater Danny O'Shea is on the U.S. team, right? He gave all new meaning to the term break a leg. So 2 days before the Colorado athlete competed at the World Figure Skating Championships in Boston, he hurt his foot during training camp. So he's like, I think this is hurt pretty bad. He skates in pairs, didn't want to let his partner down. Ellie Cam is her name. So he went ahead and he skated. He numbed it up with an injection. He used lots of ice. They figured high enough to make sure that the U.S. team would go on to the Olympics in 2026. He did it. His foot hurt really bad afterwards. Ends up that he had broken his foot. He was skating, jumping, landing on a broken foot.
That just makes me wince.
Yeah, makes me wince and makes me proud.
That's awesome.
That is really
way to grit it out.
Gritty for sure.
In case you missed it.
John, have you heard about Ophelia and Louie?
I know who they are. Tell everybody else.
Yes, one fugitive otter was captured in Wisconsin while the otter one is still missing.
Very nice.
Okay, thank you very much. So, this is at the new zoo and adventure park in Green Bay. The otters, Ophelia and Louie, escaped on March 20th during a snowstorm. I don't know how exactly, but they found Ophelia by trapping her and apparently set up this trap.
Yep.
But Louie is still on the lam, if you will, because it's otter breeding season.
Oh, yeah, you go, Louie.
So they think that Louie probably has been out and about for a little bit.
In case you missed it.
Oh, you know I love me a good Guinness Book of World Record, don't I? Yes, of course. Well, let me ask you this. How many people does it take to wear banana hats to win a Guinness Book of World Records? Let me tell you, really easy, 309. That's right.
Whoa.
A Missouri museum gathered 309 people in banana hats and they have broken an appealing Guinness record.
I love all these puns.
This happens just on Wednesday. Now, you want to check out the stream, you can text WATCH to 855-616-1620 and check out some of the pictures of the people wearing their banana. I'm telling you, they are literally banana hats. And they did officially win a Guinness Book of World Records and this happened on 5:30 on Wednesday at the City Museum in St. Louis. And they took the title to be the appealing winners.
Very nice.
I didn't write that.
In case you missed it.
All right. A reign of terror has been stopped in a local British village. For weeks, residents had been assaulted when going out for daily walks. Some were less fortunate in which they were cut. In some instances, cuts were so bad, blood was being drawn. Children were barred from going outside. Even mail carriers avoided this area due to fear of getting hurt themselves. So who was responsible for this senseless act of violence? A hawk. That's right. A hawk had been dive bombing residents in this village for weeks. The Harris hawk, native to North and South America, was finally captured by appropriately named resident Steve Harris, age 40. So how did he capture this terror in the sky? Harris told the local media that he'd been chasing this bird, and this bird has been chasing him when he went on a run. He got back to his house, saw it was on top of his shed. He learned that a local falconer had left him a cage. He used it to protect himself when he was running. He was brave enough that when the bird was about a foot away, he threw it on top of the bird, trapping it, called out to the falconer to come and help, and he came and tamed it. Alan Grehal, the falconer who helped Harris with the capture, said the bird is a young male and may have been acting aggressive due to being hormonal.
Oh, like the otter.
It's the old hormone problem again.
You know, us guys, we got a problem with hormones occasionally.
Yeah, you guys got problems with hormones.
It does happen. Touche. Very good.
In case you missed it.
Good one, Sean. It is 5:13 at WTMJ. Traffic and weather on your Fridays up next.
While being the first pro baseball team is your claim to fame,
What's going on in there? What? That light.
those red jerseys remind us that your franchise is in flames.
Oh, the red. Yeah, it's a chicken roaster sign.
The Brewers host the Reds at American Family Field.
Back and Chourio makes the catch as he collides with the wall.
Our Brewers Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6:35. We are the home of the Brewers. WTMJ.
Moms, dads, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. WTMJ's Julia Fellow. No gatekeeping here. I want to tell you about Just Between Friends Milwaukee County. Get your tickets now at milwaukeecounty.jbfsale.com. It's a pop-up marketplace for you to buy and consign gently used infant all the way up to teen clothing and children's gear. You'll find up to 90% off the retail price. It's happening April 11th through the 13th at Wisconsin State Fair Park's Expo Center in West Allis. Head to milwaukeecounty.jbfsale.com.
I've always believed that great service makes all the difference. At Waterstone Bank, it's more than just banking. It's personal. When I needed help choosing an account, my banker took the time to understand my needs and guided me through my options. Thanks to her advice, I can watch my money grow, knowing it's secure.
Welcome to your Waterstone Bank, where community and personal service come together. Member FDIC.
Goodyear, Dunlop, Kelly, Continental, General, you name it, we got it.
Plus, free flat tire repair, free tire rotations, and more.
So when you're due for tire service, schedule it at richlawns.com.
That's Rich Lawns with 2 N's.
Rich Lawns.
Get out and enjoy your yard. Outdoor Living Unlimited puts cool stuff in your yard. Patios, decks, pergolas, outdoor kitchens, screen rooms, even in-ground pools. You dream it, we design it together, then Outdoor Living Unlimited installs it for you. OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Traffic is sponsored by the famous Fox and Hounds restaurant near Holy Hill.
Buy one dinner, get one free tonight at the historic Fox and Hounds Supper Club, including steak and lobster. And desserts are buy one, get one free. Tables are open, foxandhoundsrestaurant.com. Traffic and weather. Hey, Debbie.
Hey there, John. Well, looks like they fixed the accident on 41 northbound at Burleigh. So we're just left with the delays at the moment. So delays coming up from Watertown Plank Road all the way up past Burleigh. Southbound is slow from Silver Spring down past Capitol Drive. Now eastbound 94, we got some backups starting around Springdale Road all the way down, all the way through the Barker Road area to just past Calhoun. Back on the brakes from about 84th Street all the way through the stadium. Westbound 94 is backed up from 25th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Southbound 43, watch for delays right around the North Avenue curve all the way down to the KK River crossing. On northbound, we've got delays from just before Fond du Lac Avenue all the way up to Keefe. I'm Debbie Lazago with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
The WTMJ 5-day forecast tonight, a little bit of rain, a low of 38 degrees. Tomorrow, showers early, a high of 51. On Sunday, partly cloudy, a high of 47. Monday, light snow, 38. On Tuesday, mostly sunny, a high of 41 degrees. Right now, it is 42. Thanks for hanging out with us on this Friday. So I saw an interesting little nugget in the news. A third of Americans have stopped buying eggs, according to a study. A third have stopped buying them, and many of that number say they will not revert back until prices on eggs drop. That's it. They're done. They're just not doing it.
I mean, that's actually, terrible news for egg farmers.
For sure.
Terrible. But I understand that, there's a point where it gets so painful. And I was telling you, I went to Costco, and this has been like 3 times, and there are no eggs.
I wonder why that is.
Well, at first I thought it was just a supply shortage.
Right.
But then I'm wondering, are they concerned that, certainly other places have eggs. Is there some kind of concern on their part about the bird flu, or are they not able?
But why would everybody else still sell them?
I don't know. That's what I'm asking. So
that's
kind of weird. If anybody knows what's
let
up
us
with
know.
Costco,
hit the text line 855-616-1620 if you know. We'd love to know. Where this really hits is hard for people that aren't as well off, because eggs have been traditionally a cheap source of protein.
Right, a staple food.
Yeah, easy. You come home and you scramble up some eggs, or you do that in the morning for your kids before
Breakfast
they head out
for
the
dinner.
door. Yep, exactly.
Right?
And it had been relatively cheap, and it's just not anymore. We don't eat a lot of eggs. We usually have eggs in the house, I guess, just because I feel like if you have a refrigerator, you have eggs in the house.
Right, isn't it?
We rarely eat it, though. We end up actually throwing out like half of the dozen eggs, it seems like every time.
You're not doing that anymore.
Nope. You got that right.
Yeah.
Being very careful.
It's very different when you don't have kids in the house, too. I think you're not as focused on eggs. You're just not as focused on breakfast, maybe.
Very true.
Just eliminate breakfast.
What's your favorite way to eat eggs?
Definitely scramble. But I love an omelet. My husband's perfected the omelet, like a real French omelet. It's like amazing. And the curd is really soft on the eggs. It's pretty cool.
Ooh,
like
maybe he'll make that for dinner for you tonight.
Yeah, actually, I'm going to have wine for dinner. I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
No, you're not.
Is that it's a carb. It's a carb.
I'm good with that. Yeah. Miller Lite for dinner over here.
Yeah, right. You're with me.
Handful of pretzels and some Miller Lite. Yeah, I'm good. Friday. It is 5:19 at WTMJ. We'll be right back.
It's made from whiskey barrels and meteorites.
Welcome to Kessler's.
Did you know that Wisconsin has a new, quick, and free online tax filing tool called IRS Direct File? Direct File is changing how people file their taxes and bringing more money into our state through the federal Earned Income Tax Credit and Child Tax Credit. File your federal and state taxes online directly with the IRS from your smartphone or computer. On average, file in less than 1 hour. Available in English and Spanish. Visit directfile.irs.gov to see if you're eligible. Sponsored by United Way of Wisconsin.
Landworks Wisconsin. So Landworks was just at my house today. They moved a rose bush that they didn't have time to move last year when they transformed our yard. Landworks crews came out there today. This is how they roll. Came to my house at the time they told me. They moved the rose bush. They moved a couple of other planting things around, like some Lazy Susans and some other Lazy Susan. No, that's a thing that's in your kitchen. A black-eyed Susan. They did not go in the house. Michelle, if you're listening, they did not move the Lazy Susan.
They are so amazing. They come in, they clean Landworks.
They do it all.
They do everything.
Yep, threw a load of laundry in. It's Landworks, Wisconsin. Then when they did the work in the yard, they sent me a picture. And I love that. And it's not just because it's me. They do that for everybody. That's how they roll. Wisconsin-based. They will take good care of you. Contact Landworks today. They might even change the laundry for you. It's Landworks, Wisconsin.
Hey, fellow Gen Xers. It's Elizabeth Banks. Big news. The recommended age for pneumococcal pneumonia vaccination has been lowered to 50 and older, even if you're healthy. It's up to us to lead the charge. After all, we gave the world the internet. We're trailblazers. Let's lead the way again because we are at over 6 times greater risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Gen X, this is our shot. Head to VaxAssist.com and schedule today. That's VaxAssist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Taxes was taxing. Now taxes is relaxing when you file for free.
I can file for free? TurboTax Free Edition. Roughly 37% of filers qualify. Simple Form 1040 returns only. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free. I can file for free.
Now this is taxes. File for free with TurboTax Free Edition and get your maximum refund. No schedules except for Earned Income Tax Credit, Child Tax Credit, and Student Loan Interest. See if you qualify at turbotax.com/free.
I basically had a perpetual sinus infection where they would clear, get the meds.
And it didn't do anything.
Medications may not really help. They can be a temporary fix instead of trying to find the real root of a breathing triangle problem. And that's Mom chiming in. And what you're about to hear next was a first for Advent.
So my symptoms were the same. We actually had the same procedure on the same day. It was just a matter of, let's just do this. Why put it off?
An in-office procedure at Advent to get you breathing well is very convenient, and you shouldn't put it off because breathing well changes lives.
I do remember the first deep breath.
Oh, I remember that.
The feeling of whoa, this is great.
Since then, breathing has gotten easier. Sleeping has gotten easier.
I came in over 10 years ago and I couldn't breathe ever, and now I can breathe. That's the best way I can put it.
Results may vary. Most insurance accepted.
Wisconsin's Afternoon News on WTMJ.
Wanted to bring you up to speed on a story and give you some detail on something that we've all been talking about that appears, at least for the time being, to have a good ending. Authorities have found Sophia Franklin. You've probably seen that in the news, right? She was found yesterday at a truck stop in Nebraska. 40-year-old Gary Day, who police say got her pregnant when she was 16 years old and abducted her from her house in Wisconsin. Now, she went willing, like they didn't drag her, they don't believe, screaming, but she's a child. He's been charged with taking her illegally, abducting her. And then he apparently, we're learning now, took her on a road trip. There's been an Amber Alert for 2 months. And he drove her all the way out to the West Coast. They had car troubles. The car broke down. So then he takes his 16-year-old girlfriend. God, that sounds disgusting. 40-year-old Gary Day takes 16-year-old Sophia Franklin, and because her car broke down, they hitchhike back to the Midwest. His 5-month pregnant girlfriend, he puts her in a truck, and they hitchhike with a trucker all the way back to Nebraska. The trucker, police say, had no idea who they were, is not guilty of anything. They hitchhike.
I didn't know that was really still happening,
Me
John.
either. I never see a hitchhiker on the side of the road. Do you?
I never see hitchhikers. Maybe they met him at at a depot, whatever those truck stops are called, and a truck stop.
Yeah.
But it is kind of unusual to think about that in today's day and age, and that this trucker picked them up and that it was okay. I mean, what a nightmare.
So listen to how this plays out then, okay? So they hitchhike. Boy, is that romantic. Hey, honey, we're going to catch a ride to Nebraska. So they get to Nebraska, they get out, and other truck drivers at a big Love's truck stop see the two of them together. And Gary Day is bald. He looks like he's 50 years old. She looks like a kid. She's 16. Other truckers see them, and they go up to them, and they think something is wrong. They think this doesn't look like a couple that should be together.
These truckers were reading it right.
Yep. So they go up to him and they talk to him, and they say they didn't like the answers they were getting. It was inconsistent, and she seemed very nervous. So the truckers go back to their cab, and they start to Google and research, that's their word, who this could be. They didn't recognize either one of them.
Like, were there any cases they were thinking of an Amber Alert or something like that?
Yeah, so that's what they Googled. They went to the National Amber Alert website, saw the picture of these two. Oh, my gosh, that's them. And called police.
Amazing.
So then police came to the truck stop, and they arrested this guy. And Sophia Franklin was taken into protective custody. And her dad drove through the night and went there to be with her.
My heart goes out to this family.
The mom, you can imagine, was relieved. She says she was relieved and nervous at the same time, happy that her daughter's okay. She stayed home here. Dad and an uncle drove to Nebraska through the night, and they got her, and she's now on her way back. Physically, they say she's okay. The baby is okay. Sophia, according to the mom, is trying to decide whether she keeps the baby.
This is a really tough
or
situation.
puts it up for adoption.
Oh, so hard.
If this guy did what they said he did, he is a despicable, disgusting human being, and he should be locked away for life.
I mean, she's 16 years old.
She's 16.
And he's 40.
What is your problem, dude?
Yeah.
You desperate, disgusting piece of garbage.
Yeah,
if this is
seriously.
true. I want to put that caveat in there. And our indications are that it is. But if it's true, this guy, I can't imagine. Pathetic.
But, John, how incredible that these truckers were reading the situation and seeing that it wasn't right. And it really goes to show you the whole see something, say something really is important, and that we can have an effect on other people in a positive way in terms of being able to stop crime happening.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
And that's what it appears happened here. So she is on her way back to Wisconsin. Gary Day, is also going to be extradited back to Wisconsin. So he can face the consequences.
It's not going to be good.
No, it's not. Let's hope it's not good for him. It is 5:27 at WTMJ. Let's check out the markets. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the red big time today. The Dow was down 2,231 points. The NASDAQ was off 962. The S&P was down 322. Annex Wealth Management. Know the difference.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Milwaukee Weight Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally and safely, and with no drugs or injections with risk of serious side effects, no prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, and no exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can keep the weight off for good with a coach for ongoing support. Our program costs up to half as much and works up to twice as fast as most other programs. Go to MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com to schedule your free consultation.
Hey, it's Steve Scafidi. I've been on this weight loss journey for about 10 weeks now, currently in the maintenance phase. Hit my goal, 35 pounds, reached my weight loss goal easy, fast, safely, and I'm going to continue working with a wonderful team at Milwaukee Weight Loss.
Many patients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation by calling 262-449-1180 or online at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. That's MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. Results may vary.
You only get one chance to make a first impression, and that goes double for your home listing, because that's how you're going to get the most value. By having a customized marketing plan specific to your property with professional photos, global marketing, and the built-in experience that Century 21 Benefit Realty has brought to the table since 2004. And being joined with Century 21 just makes all of the above stand out that much more. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
So how is that possible? 1.9% real estate commission? There must be something you're not telling me.
I hear that a lot. The truth is, everybody could do it, but they choose not to because folks keep paying more than they have to. I guess they just haven't heard yet that Century 21 Benefit Realty can make that 1.9% real estate commission promise on the sale of your home and stick to it. So I'd like to think that's going to make your decision easy. This is Angela Calais with Century 21 Benefit Realty, benefit-realty.com, where you pay less for full service. Each office is independently owned and operated.
Traffic is sponsored by the amazing Mineshaft Restaurant in downtown Hartford.
The successful Mineshaft Restaurant in Hartford is hiring positive professional servers and bartenders. You'll make great cash. Inquire today. Start next week. MineshaftRestaurant.com.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on Wisconsin's radio station, News Radio WTMJ.
It's 5:30, your top story, an eventful day in 2 Wisconsin courtrooms. And I'm Amy Taylor in for Julia Fellow. The stock markets plummet amid ongoing tariff turmoil.
I'm Debbie Lazaga, and we've got a crash now eastbound 94 just past Barker Road. It's off on the left shoulder right now, so kind of in a weird spot. You want to be careful with that. And also, we've got the left lane blocked with a crash just before Barker Road. And that means we've got delays pretty much from Highway F all the way through those areas. Back on the brakes then, out of the Zoo interchange all the way to the Stadium interchange. Westbound 94 backing up from about 25th Street to Mitchell Boulevard. Northbound 43 looking at delays from Kilbourne all the way to Keefe. Southbound slowing down from just before Fond du Lac Avenue down through the Marquette and then back on the brakes from Lapham down to the KK River. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Tonight, showers, low of 38. Tomorrow, a little morning rain, a high of 51. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, federal arrests at Milwaukee County buildings.
U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement has made 2 arrests in the Milwaukee County Courthouse and Public Safety Building this week. Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office say they were made aware of ICE's first arrest at the courthouse, but was not given advance notice of the second arrest. The Sheriff's Office reiterates it did not participate in either arrest, but did state that it is not uncommon for local, state, and federal law enforcement agencies to search available databases for upcoming court hearings of individuals they are seeking. Sean Brinda, WTMJ News.
A Waukesha County judge grants a convicted killer's request to represent himself during his appeal.
The court will grant Attorney Covey's motion to withdraw, and from here on forward, the court will consider Mr. Brooks a pro se litigant. We will be able to communicate directly with him.
Darrell Brooks is currently serving 6 life sentences for the deaths in the 2021 Waukesha Christmas Parade attack. He represented himself during the original criminal trial, too.
In a Fond du Lac courtroom. Convicted killer Taylor Schabusiness being tackled by officers. Court TV capturing her screaming and lunging at her attorney moments after her preliminary hearing started this morning. Schabusiness is serving a life sentence at Taycheedah after being convicted of murdering and dismembering a man in 2022. Her attorney in the case has withdrawn.
Uncertainty over tariffs and recession fears led the S&P 500 and NASDAQ to their worst quarterly drops since 2022.
But that could mean an opportunity for those with a longer runway to retirement.
If you like a stock at a certain price and if it goes on sale, then it's just a better bargain for the longer term.
Annex Wealth Management Chief Economist Brian Jacobson suggests analyzing the long-term stability of the company in determining a buy or sell strategy.
Have the fundamentals of the business and their outlook really deteriorated to the point that justifies this new valuation that it is trading at.
Greg Matzik, WTMJ News.
Public safety is top of mind for Milwaukee County for the upcoming biennial state budget. County Executive David Crowley tells WTMJ.
Current layout of our public safety building, it is operationally inefficient for us, and it costs us a lot of money. And so if we want to save our county taxpayers' dollars, it's going to require this level of partnership to make sure that not only are we investing in public safety, but it gives us a chance to invest in all the other programs and services that so many people rely on every single day.
A new public safety building for Milwaukee County would cost upwards of $490 million.
An interim chancellor has been named for UW Stevens Point. Pratima Gandhi will take the role on July 14th. She's currently the vice chancellor for finance and administration. She replaces Chancellor Thomas Gibson, who will become chancellor of UW Milwaukee in July.
An all-star weekend is coming to Waukesha.
The very best in the Professional Bowlers Association are heading to Foxview Lanes. PBA Commissioner Tom Clark tells WTMJ's What's on Tap.
This will be the first time that the PBA conducts an event on television on string pins.
String pins are a new system used for resetting. The All-Star Weekend puts another bowling controversy to the test.
Everybody wants to debate whether two-hand or one-hand is better. So we're going to have a team of two-hand bowlers against a team of one-hand bowlers.
Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 5:35.
Time for a WTMJ Sports Update from the Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All Sports Desk. After beginning the season with 4 straight losses, the Brewers aim for their 4th straight win Tonight, they host the Reds. Coverage begins following the 6 o'clock news on WTMJ. The Bucks begin the day in 5th place in the Eastern Conference playoff race with 6 regular season games to play, and the team is hopeful to have All-Star guard Damian Lillard back for the playoffs after being diagnosed with deep vein thrombosis in his right calf March 25th. In college basketball, the women's Final Four semifinal games begin tonight in Tampa, Florida. The men's Final Four begin Saturday in San Antonio with all 4 number 1 seeds still remaining.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 5:35.
Healthy joints, healthy lifestyle. Vince Vitrano for Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin. Arthritis, injuries, wear and tear, common joint issues that keep you from doing what you love. At OAW, a visit to the doctor doesn't always mean surgery. Everyone is different. Surgeons, nurses, physical therapists work together to come up with a plan for you. Maybe it's PT, medication, injection, and if you do need surgery like I did, you know you're in the best of hands. Orthopedic Associates of Wisconsin, there is a difference. Book an appointment online at orthowisconsin.com.
When I shop St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores, every time I come in, it's like a whole new store. It's because new inventory's arriving daily, all kinds of everything. And let me tell you, thrift store prices make buying easy. And helping others at the same time, that's icing on the cake. St. Vincent de Paul thrift stores on Highway 100 in Layton and Greenfield, 23rd in Lincoln, and 76th and Bradley Road in Milwaukee.
You're gonna love it, St. Vincent de Paul.
Wisconsin's afternoon news on WTMJ.
Hey, you know what that music means. Our buddy Chief Meteorologist Brian Niznansky is with us. Happy Friday, Niz.
Happy Friday. I could use it. I'm ready for it. Ready for the weekend.
We were just saying that, actually. I feel that way, too. We're ready. Hey, let me ask you this. We've been talking throughout the show about the price of eggs. There's a new survey out that says that 1/3 of Americans have stopped buying eggs because they're so expensive, and half of that group won't start buying again until prices drop below $5. In some places, they are already. Here's a question. Eggs, the Niznansky family. You guys eat a lot of eggs?
I would say it depends on who. I'm definitely, especially now, Fridays, no meat for me, so I'm big egg on Friday. For sure. We try to, especially with the kids, and the kids are pretty good with it too. Like you only give your kids so many Pop-Tarts and crap, right? You know, you want to, if you got time in the morning, crack them an egg. They're pretty good with it. They like the hard-boiled eggs too. We're not crazy. I would say maybe we go through a little more than a dozen a week. So not
yeah, that's pretty normal. And you're saying, good source of protein. It does make you feel good as a parent when you get them started off right.
Yeah, and you never know what's in if you get them the frozen microwave breakfast sandwich or something. I'm not saying that that's not okay every now and then, but I feel better about just a straight up fresh egg and make them a bagel or something.
And it's actually that to me. Still pretty affordable. I mean, I know for some people it's really a big deal, but if you pay,
it is.
I mean, it's still not super expensive for a source of protein, and it's easy, which I like.
Yeah, I think what, and I'm not an expert by any means on economy and stuff, but I think what people forget with eggs is how much eggs is in everything else that isn't just an egg. It's in everything.
You make an excellent point.
Yeah.
All the baked goods,
that's
all that stuff.
Totally. Yeah, that all goes into it. So even if you're someone who doesn't like house 5 eggs for breakfast, I guarantee you, unless you're completely against it, you're eating eggs at some point during the day.
What's your favorite way to eat an egg?
I used to be just scrambled only. But now, ever since avocado toast became a cool thing, I like a fried egg on top of avocado toast, and probably pretty runny too.
That's
perfect. That sounds good.
I love
actually.
a runny egg.
Maybe I'll have that for dinner tonight. Yeah. My wife's out of town, so I'm trying to decide if I have frozen pizza, cereal, or now an egg is in the mix.
I think you're having frozen pizza.
That's a good call.
You're having an egg tonight.
Dude, that's when you got to have the frozen pizza, when you have no one else accounted for.
It's so perfect.
And it's just you. Yep. It's just you and your pizza.
This is just the best romance ever, isn't it? Me and my pizza.
I just told Amy, I feel terrible saying this, but I kind of like it when Michelle's gone for a day. Because I can eat what I want, and I can watch the bloodiest, goriest war movie. I can just sit there. No one's counting how many Miller Lights I'm drinking.
Right.
The remote is yours. The fridge is yours. No one's judging you.
That's
it's
right.
great.
I think the judging thing is really big.
What do you mean I drank that whole bottle of wine? Why are you keeping track, huh? All right, Niz, what are we looking at for the weather tonight and into the next few days?
Just stock up before she gets home and take out the recyclables.
What she
That'd be
doesn't
good.
know won't
Good
hurt her.
call. Good call.
Yes. All right. So we got a little bit of light rain on the way. It's staying south of the state line for the most part. But so it really looks like most of us probably are dry for the next few hours, and then the rain chance goes up by 9, 10 o'clock this evening, and it's a lighter rain. Maybe we get like a 1/10 of an inch. A shower could linger into tomorrow morning early, and then I think the rest of the weekend is dry. Partly cloudy tomorrow afternoon, 50. For Sunday, partly cloudy, a high of 51. And then Sunday night into Monday morning, we're talking late Sunday night after midnight into Monday morning, we do have a chance, which actually looks pretty likely, of a clipper moving through that will bring us a round of snow. Not a major snow, but enough that I think for a Monday morning, people might be a little ticked off driving in some slush in the morning.
It's not bad, though, right? I mean, we get snow every April, so to get a little tiny bit of snow, I mean, don't we get a couple inches usually in April?
On average, yeah. On average, typical. I'd have to look up the exact amount, but I believe in April we're a couple inches on average of snow. So it's not out of the ordinary. Even if we get an inch of snow, you know it's going to be gone in the next day.
Yep. All right, I like it. Have a great weekend, Niz.
You too, guys. We'll see ya.
It is 5:41 at WTMJ. Hey, quick reminder, you can always catch the podcast of the show by texting the word WAN, W-A-N, to 855-616-1620. Lots of cool stuff on there. All the interviews get posted on there. We had a fascinating interview during the 3 o'clock hour with therapist Megan Anderson about what it's like if you're dating or married to someone who is the opposite of you politically. It was a fun conversation. If you text the word WAN, W-A-N, you get sent, boom, the link to the podcast page right away, and you can check it out. Our podcast is sponsored by Dave Drakamp Heating. Your comfort is their family's solution.
On Wisconsin's Morning News, we profiled the average John or Jane Doe who had no idea when they got up one morning that they'd be saving a life, becoming everyday heroes.
Yeah, she flew off the road right at a bridge, so she went down an embankment. No one could see her vehicle
Until a guy named Johnny Martinez happened to come by.
I said, ma'am, how long have you been here? And she said, I've been here since Wednesday night. And I said, no, it's today's Tuesday.
Everyday Hero, Thursdays at 6:40. Presented by Azura Memory Care and Assisted Living, transforming the culture of care.
As clutch of a player to ever play basketball.
It's game time on Season 4 of Behind the Bucks on Bucks Plus.
This year, I was like, I need to impose myself more on this team.
Explore Damian Lillard's journey to becoming a top 75 player in NBA history.
That's what really had me feeling like this is going to be great.
Behind the Bucks is presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker, and H&R Benefits Consultant. Find Bucks Plus on bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, and wherever you get podcasts.
John Mercure here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. There's a lot of buzz surrounding the draft, but you won't find one seeping through Pella's windows and doors. In fact, you should make Pella your #1 pick because right now you can take advantage of no-interest financing options or free glass upgrades as long as you order by April 30th. So make a statement by adding Pella's architectural interest inside and out with maximum design flexibility. Right now, we've made the picks. We've got our new sliding patio door, which is going to be gorgeous, going out onto the deck. And it's going to be installed in the next couple of weeks. I am super excited. They have such talented designers and installers. They match your unique home through dramatic sizes, custom colors, finishes, profiles, product types, and more. It's Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. They've got durable and distinguished details. All Pella products stand the test of time, which is why they confidently offer the best wood warranty in the industry. Check this out. The time to do it with Pella, the best in the business, is right now. No interest financing options or free glass upgrades at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. You want the cool stuff like the shades between the glass, no glare glass? They do all of that. Certain restrictions apply. The deal ends April 30th, so place your free in-home consultation today. Trust the teams I trust. They're at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. The website is PellaWI.com.
There's an amazing supper club in Wisconsin Dells, Ish Nala, nestled among the pines and perched above the sandstone bluffs of Mirror Lake. The beauty, the history, the service, the food, the fun. Hi, this is Bob Prosser, owner of Ish Nala Supper Club in Wisconsin Dells. I've been a part of Ishnala since 1973, and I am so proud to continue the tradition that began in 1953. Why not enjoy a brandy old-fashioned in one of our bars, each with a spectacular view overlooking Mirror Lake, or just relax before or after dinner on one of our outdoor decks. Our Ishnala chefs have prepared your favorites: 24-ounce ribeye, cold water lobster tails, North Atlantic salmon, and of course, Ishnala's roast duck. Thank you for making Ishnala Wisconsin's favorite supper club, where the only thing we overlook is Mirror Lake. I'm Bob Prosser, and I want to serve you.
Traffic is sponsored by Burghardt Sporting Goods.
The all-new Burghardt Sporting Goods, the Midwest's best baseball and softball training facility and retail center in New Berlin and Fox Point.
All right, traffic and weather. Let's check those roads with Debbie Lazaga. Hey there, Deb.
Hey there, John. Well, eastbound 94, right about at Highway 18. Looks like we've got the left lane blocked with a crash. Emergency crews on the scene right now. Very slow ride coming from Highway 164 to that point, so be careful with that. Another crash on 894 southbound at National Avenue. This one is off on the right shoulder, so folks looks like they're getting past it without too much of an issue. Eastbound 94 also is a little bit backed up from 76th Street all the way through to Hawley Road. Back on the brakes through the Stadium interchange, and northbound 43 slowing down around the North Avenue curve all the way up towards Keefe. I'm Debbie Lazaga with your WTMJ Johnson & Sons Paving Time Saver Traffic.
Hey, let's talk about dating. Let's talk about being married to someone who doesn't have the same political view as you have. Has it become even more partisan in the Trump area, dating? What are some keys? What are some things to think about if you live with somebody who's on the other side? Let's bring in our friend Megan Anderson, therapist and a couch. Check out the website. It's a pretty cool website. Megan, thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, as always, glad to be here on a Friday.
Okay, so if you're in love with somebody who's on the other side, and we're in this environment now where it is so hyper partisan, and you go home and you want to talk about things that aren't just how'd your day go and how's the weather outside. Has it become more difficult, do you think, to live with or hang out with somebody who's on the other side?
I have to believe it has. If it's popping up more in therapy and a larger source of stress and contention than it ever has been, I have to imagine conversations at home probably are echoing the same thing.
Does it come up for you a lot in therapy? Do people come in and that's how they spend some of their time with you? Is this an issue?
More so what I see is the struggle around do I or don't I date somebody. I met this guy, I saw him on the app.
Not necessarily after they're already married.
No.
But when they're thinking about
when
somebody.
they're thinking about it. Do I commit to somebody who feels a little bit differently than me?
Well, I just had a daughter who ended a relationship over this issue. It was new. It was quick. It was going very fast and well. And she's like, I just can't do it, Mom. Because I know I'm never going to see eye to eye. And I want that to be my safe place where I can say whatever I think or whatever I feel. And I said, I totally support you. But, back in the day for us, John, I don't feel like it was like this at all.
Well, the world wasn't as partisan in general.
It wasn't. No. I mean, we had, I dated people of all different, there's one or two political beliefs, two parties.
Right.
But people who had different ideologies or sets of thoughts, and it wasn't like this at all.
No.
So contentious.
Megan, what do you tell people if they are dating and they think they love someone, but this is becoming stressful?
Well, I think I have two schools of thought around it. The first school of thought is we date divided around things all the time. People date people of different religions. People date people of different financial backgrounds with different hopes and dreams. So we do this already. So I want us to keep that in mind, that this isn't the most foreign thing in the world. And I would also say if your values and your expectations are really important to you and you feel like there's a misalignment around that, that's going to become, I think, more and more difficult than just having a political difference.
What about the phrase opposites attract? Is that just a dumb phrase that people say, or can there be some validity in that can be a positive for couples?
Well, social psychology would say similarity is the thing that actually can attract a lot of us together. But I would say that there are obviously people who feel that way. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had that phrase to begin with. And so when I think about that phrase, I sometimes think about people enjoying that fieriness behind being opposites. And that's a whole complicated thing that can probably be digested in a few therapy sessions too.
I want to go back to that idea of values that you said, if your values align. And I think that that's so important. And that I think that people in this climate have had trouble differentiating like values from politics because they feel so enmeshed, and people have taken it to be like, this is just the ultimate, their way of thinking is the only way of thinking. Do you kind of try to encourage people to think beyond like black and white and to see more gray, or is that a dangerous place for people?
I would generally err on the side of thinking in gray is really healthy for all of us in most aspects. And so I would encourage people to try to poke holes in certain things about themselves. However, if you feel like you're sacrificing something that is really true to who you are, I wouldn't encourage anybody to do that. But to think about some level of flexibility and wiggle room, I mean, in my biased opinion, that's an indicator of health.
So you're saying, I think the word you're saying is flexibility is a form of mental health.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
So what's the advice? I think a lot of people have become more vocally partisan in the last 5 years. What's the advice if you're married to somebody and you knew you were the opposite? And now in this world we live in, it's become more tribal and it's become more vocal and divisive. And so now you're with this person you love, you have kids, and you feel like you can't talk about what's going on in the world because it's so combative. Mm-hmm. What's the advice? How do you handle that?
A few pieces come to mind. The first thing that I think about is we really get stuck in our reactions when this happens, and all of a sudden that's the place that you're operating from. And more often than not, that doesn't lead to anything good.
You mean like, I hate him or her, or I can't stand that news station.
Like lashing out.
Well, yeah, if a piece of news comes across and you as a couple are talking about it and you have radically different opinions, it can feel like a knee-jerk response. And so I think if you're talking from a reactive place, you need to take a beat and you need to take a minute. And I would really encourage somebody to come back together, because the piece that we often miss here is actually being curious about people and asking some really intentional, thought-provoking questions. And usually when you can do that, I think you can actually start to either find a middle ground or at the very least say, hey, that makes sense to me that that's where you're coming from, even if I feel really different.
Therapist Megan Anderson is with us. So this is from the text line. Trump has made political differences more difficult than ever to handle. My husband is always conservative, and I can handle that. But the Make America Great movement has stressed it and brought politics into our relationship. Are you hearing that from people, that the world is inherently different for married couples who aren't on the same side than it used to be?
Yeah, I hear that for families too. I think this is a thing that is continuing to play out in the therapy session of like, how do I go home and talk to my older father? How do I go home and talk to my husband? How do I interact on these dating apps that everybody is highly utilizing now? So I think it's coming up in marriages because it's coming up everywhere else.
So what do you say to them? I mean, I had someone who was helping me with my animals. I'll leave it at that, for I don't want to betray their identity. But they were saying, my dad is such a, diehard this or that. And it was really difficult for her to see eye to eye. Do you think she should? Do you have to continue a relationship?
Well, I would always say you don't have to do anything. Anyone who feels that, my alarm bells start going off a little bit. Mm-hmm. So I wouldn't say you have to do anything. And if it feels really important to you to try to preserve that relationship, I think it's worthwhile talking about how you want to restructure it, because it doesn't need to totally go away, but we also don't have to keep it going the way that it has been. I mean, that's also part of finding the gray.
Do you talk politics with your husband?
Oh, yeah. We were talking about what we were going to talk about today and got in our own heated discussion on it on Tuesday. So, I mean, it plays out for us, too.
Is it inherently still better to talk? We always say it's better to talk it out. Or are there times where it's better to decide, we're not talking about this. We're coming home. We're going to talk about the weather. We're going to talk about how our kids are doing. We're going to talk about the Brewers. We're not talking about politics.
I think if it's creating a pretty consistent streak of disruption, yeah, let's take a break from it. I think you should take a break from it until you learn how to do it better or well.
So they should check out Megan Anderson, therapist on the couch, get some tips.
It's amazing because, my husband and I, we agree on politics, and we still get in contentious moments because it's a stress. It's a stress on all of us.
So
right?
I think, Megan, and me too. So Michelle and I agree. We're on the same side. But because of what's happening in the world, Sometimes I might feel stronger even though we're on the same side. Both of my daughters are both married, happily married, to guys that have the opposite. And they both are. And smartly, I see the guys backing down, it seems like, all the time.
Genius.
But they've found a way to talk about it. And they're younger, obviously. You know, they're like 30-ish. And they've found a way. But I know they struggle with it. Do you find that when it comes to age groups, some are better at talking through things or worse because of where we are in our life cycle?
I think the more of a generational divide there is, the stronger it comes across. I feel like what I've seen amongst millennials and Gen Z in particular, there seems to be a little bit of an easier time talking about it, even when we disagree, and even when we're on the same side and we disagree.
All right, she's Megan Anderson, therapist in a couch. What's the website, Megan?
It's therapistinaCouch.com.
That's
nice
a good website. We need to get a couch in here for when you're in here.
Not the couch from my office, though. That's staying.
Megan, don't leave. I'm going to come out in the commercial break.
Me too. Who's going to do the rest of the show?
This is going to be awesome for you and me, John.
Yeah, it's going to be really good. Do you do house calls?
You know, I can make an exception.
Oh, okay. That sounds great. Megan, have a great weekend. Good perspective. Thank you so much.
Thanks for hanging out with me.
These are your business headlines from the Milwaukee Business Journal.
Indoor pickleball franchise The Pickler looks to summer to open its third Wisconsin location. A new facility planned in West Dallas at 2550 South 108th Street will join the other locations in Menominee Falls and Ashwaubenon. JP Morgan Chase Bank purchases 1.1 acres of property in Brookfield for $5.6 million. A new two-story branch planned along